Oh my God, Becky.
Hello, happy Saturday, everyone. How are you? I wanted this to, well, I didn't want to do the whole song, but
Oh my God, Becky.
that seriously was exactly what I was thinking when this happened with Becky. What the hell was Becky thinking? Seriously. Hello, Christina. Hello, Khaleesi. Hello, Kinney. Hello. Who did I miss? Well, I think I got everyone so far. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Gelth. Hello, Elsie. So, yeah, I mean, that was the very first thing. I don't know. You guys remember that song? Oh my God, Becky, look at her. Yeah. What was this woman thinking? Hello, Lori Jane. Um, as someone who's watched a lot of true crime, it just is shocking to me, really, that this happened, that we are going to have a retrial, because of the clerk. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. It is so disappointing. I wonder if they'll let me play it again.
Oh my God, Becky.
Becky. That's like all I was thinking. And, she, ever since that trial, there's been so many things. I mean, she had 76 ethics violations, if you guys remember that. And I even pulled up like some of the complaints, but overall, the whole reason that there's going to be a retrial is, yeah, because basically she was, said things to the jurors that you just can't say. Like, don't be fooled when he's on the stand, when Alec Murdaugh's on the stand. And again, he was on trial for murder of his wife and his son, and one of his sons. And man, he took the stand. And actually, I was going to make a poll. How many of you actually watched that trial? Hey, Gran. You said, wonder if the clerk has done this to other trials. I was thinking the same thing. How scary is that? Hello, Tiffany. And I almost like, part of me almost like feels a little bad for her. I was like, well, maybe she thinks that, maybe like, because apparently the corruption was pretty bad with Murdaugh. And so maybe she was like, thought she was doing something right, you know, but still, she knows better. And also, no one needed to be told to pay attention to Alex Murdaugh on the stand. These jurors were paying very close attention. I don't know if you guys remember the interviews afterwards, but I thought the jurors were excellent. I mean, there was the egg juror. There was the one juror who I think they kept the room cold or something because she kept kind of falling asleep. But I mean, it seems like everyone else was paying attention. Lori said Murdaugh is like a cat with 9 lives. I can't get over it. So, oh, and speaking of cat, I think I figured out something. Hold on. So I think if I go like this and like this. So I don't have an Aussie cam. Let's see if this works. But can you guys see this? This is, yeah. So that's a camera that's on Aussie right now. He's laying in his catio like the baller he is. But yeah. Hold on a second. So he's just catching some sun, some rays at the end of the day. So it's not an Aussie cam per se, but I'm working on it. So we have that part, but now we need to put them both together. So hold on. Let me just go back to my slides and uh-oh. I have to reshare again. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So how many of you watched that trial? I'm just curious. Do you guys think that Alec Murdaugh is going to take the stand again? That's what I'm curious about because it was a disaster, in my opinion, last time. But that was me. Oh my God, it's an amazing area for him. Yeah, that was my grandfather's gift to him, to Ozzy. And if you guys don't, most everyone here knows Ozzy by now, but he's our I want to say he's our emotional support chat cat. He is he's pretty incredible. And like, yeah, a neighbor abandoned him during COVID and he got returned after trying to adopt him out a few times. He had a lot of issues, and we were told even a cat sanctuary turned him down, and we were told to put that there's worse things than death, and we should probably put him to sleep. He bit a lot. He had a lot of trauma, like emotional and physical. So, but now he's incredible. Like he is just, he's thriving and living his best life. And my grandfather made sure he was all set up before he passed. So he has that little enclosure. He can go inside and out whenever he wants. And yet he still tries to escape all the time. So Let's see. Hello, Jensen Jade. I don't think he'll take the stand this time. I see, I don't think so either, but he's a narcissist. And so I feel like they will. Like, normally they can't be told no. I'm going to make a poll real quick and then we'll read this ethics complaint if you guys don't remember this one. But sometimes all they need is live and time to adjust, or yeah, sometimes all they need is love and time to adjust. I agree with that for sure. And he needed a lot. And I actually ended up hiring do you know Jackson Galaxy? The cat, what is it? My cat from hell. We hired him because Ozzy definitely did have a lot of issues, but he's doing so good. Yeah, he's a little sweetheart. So let me go to my polls real quick. It's in the widgets. Let me see. Do you think Alex will take the stand in the retrial? Yes. No. So you put a no for, sorry, you put a 1 for yes and a 2 for no. Let me go to create and start and show. And yes, I remember last time I have to go up here. All right, we're all set. I don't know. I think he's going to take the stand again. That's just me. I'm voting 1. So let me go back to this slide. So it says, this was from 2023, and it just says, this is a written statement of blank regarding the unethical behavior of the Colton County Clerk of Court, Becky Hill. Hill is the elected clerk of court and was in office in the time of the Murdaugh trial. Since the beginning of the trial, Hill has utilized her authority, the Colton County Courthouse, and taxpayer money outside the scope of routine court business. Through interviews with various media sources, Hill admits she planned to write a book as soon as she discovered Murdaugh would be adjudicated in Colton County. Hill also used her position to make contacts prior to trial that could assist her in this endeavor. These admissions can be discovered in local news sources and social media posts. During the Murdaugh trial, Hill used her political position and authority to obtain confidential information and digital images of the defendant and others during trial. At the conclusion of trial, Hill was interviewed by members of Netflix and was responsible for releasing unredacted body camera footage. On the second anniversary of the Murdaugh murders, June 9th, 2023, Hill appeared in a news article on WalterBorrowLive.com. In this article, she acknowledged the release of her book, Behind the Doors of Justice. In this article, Hill claims the book will detail interactions with Murdaugh attorney tensions, witnesses, and jurors. I submit that releasing this information to the public could have an adverse effect in upholding the conviction of Murdaugh in the event of an appeal. Well, little did she know that whoever this person is, that was like the least of the worries. But it just goes, oh yeah. So wait, hold on. Wait, is this the thing where she gives the, yeah, okay. Oh yes. It is well known Hill allows guided tours of the Colton County Courthouse during normal business hours for, quote, donations. This information has been made on Facebook posts. In some of the posts, several citizens are seen posing for pictures in the holding cell Murdaugh occupied during the trial. Hill tells attendees the donations are to replace the front windows of the courthouse. It is also known a male tourist wrote a check to Colton County in the amount of $100 as a donation for a tour. Hill later ordered a staff member to alter the check by striking through Colton County and adding her name to the check. Hill then deposited the check into her personal bank account. The I think she meant donations are unaccounted for as there's no receipts being issued, and it is unknown what financial institution and account the donations are being held in. So, I mean, this is just like an example of the craziness. And again, this was from 2023. We're in 2025, and a lot more had came out since then. And oh, hey, Vig, how are you? He'll get impeached on previous testimony. Pooh is going to put his foot down. But do you think Pooh can really tell him no? And the other thing is like, okay, so I loved the judge. Judge New what was his name? I think something Newton, right? And let's just look it up real quick, make sure I know. Alec Murdaugh Judge. Clifton Newman. Yeah. So Judge Clifton Newman, I like this judge a lot. I had actually seen him in other cases before, and I thought that he ran the courtroom really well. Here, I'll just share this so you guys can see him real quick, what he looks like. Okay. There is pop-ups up the Wahoozy. What thing is this? All right, I can't even close them, so I don't know. All right, whatever. But I just wanted to show you. Okay, there he is. That's Clifton Newman. And so he's retired now, and so obviously it's gonna be a different judge and everything, but I thought the only thing I think that maybe will be different in the second one, well, I don't know if Alex, okay, so we're pretty split 80%, 20% for yes or no if he's gonna take the stand, but I don't think they're gonna be able to admit the financial stuff this time, or at least this time, or it will be a lot cleaner because he was already convicted of all the financial crimes that he was accused of. But I feel like those happened after this trial. So like during the trial, we had I don't know, maybe like 2 whole days of testimony that was just about the financials, just to go to his character. So I think this time maybe that will be a lot shorter. But yeah, bring the jury. That's what he said. Who is moot? Thank you, Khaleesi. Yes, please smash the button, like button. So yeah, just crazy. You said you still haven't seen Christy and don't know how to get a hold of her. It worries me. If you all see her, would you please let her know just so I can stop? Oh my gosh. You know, I thought I saw her in my last stream maybe. But yeah, good point. DFJ, you should collab with Cassidy over this as she's the one that spent countless hours covering the case. Well, like I give her all her flowers. I definitely go to her for more details for sure. Hey Mishi Poo, I'm not going into detail on this case. I did watch the whole thing. I'll say that. And you know, I can't believe we're doing it again. And I also think it's going to be pretty hard to get a jury. I mean, I feel like almost everyone in that town knows about this by now, right? But I don't know. So, okay, let me go back to my slides, share this tab instead. So these were just some like points I wanted to just close on that note. Yes, giving the side tours. And so actually, I had a friend who she has property out there and she was really obsessed with this case. Like she read all the books. I think she even said, didn't the egg juror have a book too? I mean, everyone had a book. But she went out there and it was so funny because she didn't know about the side hustle that the clerk was doing for the guided tours until after, and she was so mad. She's like, "I feel like I missed out." But, like, I mean, that was a real thing that happened, and I can't believe it. It's just the whole thing was crazy. So, yeah, egg juror lady. I mean, there were so many things. I said I love this jury, though, loved this judge. Ugh, Sled. I was not totally impressed with Sled. Um, I said, "Oh," I said, "Buster Banana Stand." That was one thing I never understood because, you know, obvious what we found out was that, like, Alex obviously had, been, you know, taking a lot of money, and we don't know if it was all, like, in his accounts or where he was maybe possibly laundering it. But is there a banana stand, and does Buster have it? Because he's still supporting his dad. Apparently, didn't he, like, name his kid after his dad or something like that? I don't know. But, "Oh, the venue will move," says Vig. "Oh, okay." Lori says, "I think this is so upsetting to Cassidy." I'm sure it is. I mean, I'm sure it is, and I think it probably is to the jurors because it was a long trial to sit through, I'll say that. And, like, most of us are lucky we got to watch the stream, like, at our own pace or at our own time, or you could watch it on double speed or in the comfort of your own home, but these jurors had to go every single day, and they afterwards, some of them gave interviews, I mean, and, like, they took it really seriously. I just remember that young kid who was just like, you know, I just feel so bad for them. And, you know, and I feel bad for all the other victims and people who are gonna have to come and testify again. It's just what a disaster. And I said that Bubba though, and I think that was the most heartbreaking of it all. I mean, really, we kind of we almost like kind of know what happened thanks to Bubba, right? Because didn't he say something about Bubba at the where the dogs were? This was a long time ago, you know, it's a whole thing, but just what a crazy case. So let me go to the poll. I'm gonna close it because we're gonna go to the next case. This is a little bit tricky how I do this. Okay, so stop poll. And let me see what the results were. Okay, so only 7 people voted. But so so it looks like most people think he will testify again. And then, you know, one of you thinks that he won't. I mean, I could see either way. I think if he actually like takes the advice of his lawyer, he won't. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like his lawyer last time didn't want him to, and he did anyway. So we're gonna, you know, I don't know when the retrial would be or whatever, but we'll keep our fingers on it. Okay, and this is just a small thing, but Jed appeals in Texas, so they filed their appellate. And you know, the only thing that I have to say on this, because I'm sure we're all like blaked out, but it ends us out. I think Sarah did a good. She read through it yesterday, Yarn in Order. I think she did a good live on it. And the only thing I have to say is that I still am kind of curious why Jed never brought up Van Zandt, because like she got his information through that sham subpoena. And so I don't know. I mean, maybe it wouldn't make a difference, because they didn't bring it up in the beginning because maybe they didn't know until after he filed his defamation suit. I don't know. But you said you thought the question was, did you watch this trial? Oh, well, that's okay too. Do you think that he would testify? Did you watch it? And so you do change yours to no? Okay. So you didn't watch the trial? Well, I know, I feel like a lot of people who did the Johnny Depp trial watched it because a lot of the same people kind of covered it. I think, Emily D. Baker, I want to say she covered it, and some of those same streamers. So we'll see what happens this time. Oh, you said that was me. The question was wrong. Okay. Happens all the time. And, sometimes Christina, she likes to make it even. So she'll vote for each one. And then, we have an even poll. So you don't think he'll testify, just your opinion. Yeah. I mean, maybe not. I mean, because I do think that was kind of some of the biggest red flags. And I think exactly like Fake said, that he'll get impeached, it'll look really bad. So I think it's in his best interest not to. And this far out now, I mean, how can he keep all his lies straight at this point? So that's just my opinion on that. But oh my God, Becky, what were you thinking? Oh, it was the second most streamed trial after Depp. Well, that makes sense. So now we're going to go to so Jed, the last thing I'll say on this is that because they never had Van Zandt, and again, I think his everything was subpoenaed for him via this sham lawsuit. Whatever, at that time, Blake Lively's name was not on Van Zandt. The Van Zandt Inc., which was what the sham lawsuit and sham subpoena was for. No one's name, actually. It wasn't registered under anyone's name until like June of last year when Ryan Reynolds made himself the CEO. But her name was on the Van Zandt Incorporated, which is registered in California. And so I don't know. I think that if he doesn't get jurisdiction this time again in Texas, if his appeal doesn't go through, then I don't know. I think maybe they're going to have to go to California at this point. I don't know what they're going to do. But that's all I have to say about that. And also, because I know in Sarah's stream too, like people were like, oh, don't worry, like Van Zandt, we'll still hear about it in possibly like Jen or what is her name? Jones v. Abel. But like, I feel like they're going to settle. I don't know. I feel like they're going to settle. Anyways, I'll link the appellate in the description, but we are going to go on. Yes, so this was just an update on the Nancy Guthrie case. We haven't found Nancy, and we're not going to get too much into it. But there was one part, Brian Enton found out, well, I said, where the F is Nancy? Because now we're at over 100 days. And we found out, the sheriff is not talking to the Guthries, which is very strange. And I think one of the main reasons why it's so strange, because let's say they hopefully eventually do find this guy, right? They're going to, need the family's cooperation in prosecuting the person. And so how can you do that if you're not like in contact with the family and you're not their go-to? I mean, I don't know what happened there. And and that whole DNA blunder thing. So it wasn't just the fact, okay, so we found out from Kash Patel, and I think Brian Enton's going to say it, so I'll go to that clip. But he says, Kash Patel said, we had a plane, we were ready to help, we were ready to use our lab, we were ready to take our plane to take the DNA sample to our lab in Quantico to process it. But instead, the sheriff insisted on sending everything to their contracted lab in Florida. And apparently that decision alone cost the department almost $1 million, taxpayers. I mean, so we're going to go right to that. Let me get to it. I think it's this one.
It's interesting. He also talked about FBI tension, which has been something I've talked a lot about on my podcast and on News Nation. Remember, from the beginning, I've been reporting that there was tension between the Pima County Sheriff's Office and the FBI, and then you had Kash Patel, the FBI director, coming out and saying that they were kept out of the investigation for the first 4 days, that the sheriff wanted to send the DNA to his private lab in Florida that they use and not to Quantico, which, by the way, if you go back to my episode from yesterday, Dr. Hines, one of the county supervisors, said he wishes that they would have gone with the FBI just because of the money aspect, that he believes that the Nancy Guthrie case has already cost the county $1 million, and that if they had just let the FBI take the DNA and handle the investigation, it would have saved the county a lot of money, which is something that I hadn't heard discussed before. So he said it would have been better for the investigation because it's the FBI and they have more experience, but it also would have been better for the county because they would have saved a ton of money, $1 million, he's saying, if it had gone to the FBI. But this is what Sheriff Nano said in this new interview about FBI tension. He says he denied the claim of tension between the FBI and his agency. He says coordination between his officers and the FBI began soon after learning of Nancy's disappearance. He said Director Patel has his right to his opinions, adding that he believes some remarks were factually inaccurate. He says the FBI was with us day one. We've always had a working relationship. He also disputed claims that investigators mishandled the scene or delayed search efforts in the critical early hours of the Guthrie investigation. Again, this is according to his interview with People magazine. The plan was started immediately, he said, referring to aerial, the plane was started immediately. Nano said, referring to aerial search operations, they found blood, search and rescue looked at the scene and realized it seemed suspicious. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. So he's saying that they did search initially with the plane and then realized that it was suspicious because they found the blood and then moved on to.
Yeah. So anyways, Brian Enton is on it. And okay, you guys are saying, you said they talk, Christina said, go to California where neither live and where the action didn't take place. Make that make sense. Well, okay, if it's not going to be, New York is not jurisdiction. I think Texas should be a jurisdiction, but I'm just saying, if not Texas, then where? Does it go to California because she's trying to use California law? I mean, I don't know. And like that's where Van Zandt Incorporated is registered in California, and I don't know. I'm just saying, but he never even brought up Van Zandt really in his lawsuit or in this like appeal. So maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not a thing. I mean, maybe New Jersey would make the most sense. But again, he was in Texas, like when she was doing this. So I feel like jurisdiction should be Texas. And I'm kind of lost as to why it's not Texas. Lori says, watch NAG and LGA interview with Fritz. He talks about Van Zandt. Well, what did he say about Van Zandt? I will watch it. That was on my list of things to watch. And Kenny says, Bananos is on it, right? I mean, it's so sad. Honestly, I don't even know. And that's for like Savannah Guthrie, she's just like, she's so, famous. She's like this famous, powerful person. And this is how this sheriff is treating her and her family. So I just feel like if you're just, an everyday resident of Pima County, good luck getting them to do anything for you. If this is how he acts like on the biggest stage, do you think he's actually really helping like, the little people? No, I think that sheriff needs to go. And shame on the county supervisors who didn't vote to, to remove him or investigate him. Cause like there was some sort of thing they voted on and some wanted to like investigate him or remove him or something. And some of the supervisors didn't vote to do that. So whatever. Khaleesi says, I was going to watch the interview after my Bridgerton reaction video. Oh. Kenny says, not on it, but in on it. Oh, he's in on it. Oh, yeah. We went from like the banana stand for the Murdaugh case to like bananas here. Everything's bananas, right? Yeah. I don't know if he's, I don't even, it's probably one of the only things that makes sense at this point. It's like there's something so strange going on here, all of it. So anyways, let me see what we have going on next. Share this tab. Yes. Okay, you guys. So I like, this makes me so happy. Not okay. So I'm sure by now, have you heard about this SEAL story? So this guy, Igor, he is from Washington State. He was visiting Hawaii, and in Hawaii, these seals they're monk seals. They're endangered and they're protected, and it's like the state mammal of Hawaii. And there's signs everywhere about it. And while he was on the beach, he tries to like he basically was trying to hit this seal with like a huge boulder, like a giant boulder, throws it at poor Lonnie. By the way, she's 22, and throws it at her. It looks like thankfully did not hit her, but like it might have gotten super close to her and it scared her. And she would like kind of like went belly, like kind of was just like went, I don't know if it was belly up or kind of just floated for like 30 minutes, not moving. And some locals caught it on camera and they're like, why would you do that? And then he's like, he blew them off and they're like, why would you hurt Lonnie? And he's like, I don't care. Like I'm rich, or they're like, it's illegal to do that or something. He's like, I don't care. I'm rich. I'll pay the fine. So see, total like, dad joke, CanSEALed, get it? Canceled. I said, spelled it SEALED, canceled. Anyways, so yeah, so in Washington, he was in a Washington state federal court, or in Seattle federal court, he had a hearing. And by the way, this rich guy used a public defender. So I was like, how rich are you? Like, I mean, well, he says that, but then I'm like, why are you using a public defender? He did hire an attorney in Hawaii for that. So they took his passport and they told him he had to go to his hearing in Hawaii. And Mr. I don't care, I'm rich, uses public defender in Seattle hearing. Yep, it says 38-year-old Igor Taivuk, I can't even pronounce it, appeared with his public defender in a Seattle courtroom facing federal charges for attacking a Hawaiian monk seal. And you guys, so I was like, well, if he wants to brag about how rich he is, I was like, why don't we just kind of look at some of the finances? And I just did a very, very general, like, look, it's pretty easy. Him and his wife have some trucking companies, but for example, this is a website of one of them. And it says 10 years plus of growing business, 19,000 deliveries, 60 plus drivers, 40 logistics fleet. So there's, for the trucking business, there's something called the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, and it tracks so much with trucking. I mean, it kind of makes sense, but it's like a huge thing. And so it even tells you how many inspections they've had and everything, like everything from like if the tires were deflated to like windshield. I mean, there's a lot of things. So anyways, it's on top of it, and it tracks the miles of the car. It's crazy. So anyways, I just did a very like peripheral look, and it looks like the number of vehicles registered for this company of his is 12. So he says he has 40. And then for the drivers, it says 18 drivers, but they're saying 60 plus drivers, which, I mean, maybe they mean 60 plus over a period of time, maybe, but at one time it looks like, as of right now, there's only 18. So I'm just like, so, this is just a little tiny thing, but there's like two other trucking companies, like underneath this, like that is under his name. There's two closed ones. One of them was like in Kentucky that had one driver and one car. There's a lot of like things here that I just feel like, if you're going to be pissing off the feds, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure if the finances come up, because he's the one who brought up the money being rich, like, I'm sure if that's, something that anyone wants to look into, I'm sure there could be a lot more there. Just, I mean, that's why you just don't F with seals. Like, don't mess with animals. It pissed off a lot of people. His initial appearance in Hawaii is scheduled for May 27th. So that's in 11 days. At 10:30 a.m. in courtroom 5 with Magistrate Judge Ram Trader. And okay, so he hired a lawyer in Hawaii. And you guys, this lawyer really pissed me off because he said that, well, no, my client was trying to save the turtles from the aggressive seal. That's why he was trying to like hit it on the head and knock it out. And I was like, okay. And he said, my client thought he was a hero. I was like, he thought he was a hero, but he refused to tell the officer this because remember, an officer came and he refused to speak to the officer, which, okay, that's your right. Also, you can refuse. But like, if you really thought you were doing something good, why wouldn't you say it to the locals when they asked you, why did you do that? Why wouldn't you be like, oh, didn't you see he was trying to attack these turtles and I love turtles or something? It makes no sense. So, and then because I've had my finger on this pulse because the whole thing, if this is what someone acts like in public, and have you guys all seen this? And don't worry, I feel bad. I know it's hard to like watch. That's why I don't want to play the video. He did get punched by this local kid, punched him in the face as he was leaving. But because he's like, and there was rumors too, if that had to do with the seal thing or if that had to do with the way he spoke to his girlfriend, but whatever. But basically there was also on like some of the Facebook stuff, there was rumors where people were saying that Igor does this all the time back in Seattle, which his lawyer kind of confirms. And he says, well, he does this because they're aggressive in Washington. And I'm like, what? And then I was like, and also F you for calling West Coast seals aggressive because for those that don't know, I actually grew up really close to some seals. And so we were always like told to protect them. They were like, honestly, I felt like they were like always part of my family, like as a kid. And I just, it really disgusts me. The video, let's see if it'll open. Yeah. Okay. Let me move to this one so you guys can see this interview real quick.
Saw the monk seal.
Oops.
I think his intent was to scare the seal away from the turtles. We're waiting for a video that we can use to illustrate what he saw at the time before he went and picked up a rock and threw it. Clearly, he's beside himself with regret that he had no idea that the seals here are endangered. He lives in Washington State. He's a fisherman, among other things. And when he fishes, I'm not sure if you're familiar, if you've ever been in Seattle with the wharf area or in San Francisco, the wharf area, the sea lions are very aggressive. Saw the monk seal. I think his intent was to scare the seal away from the turtles.
So, I mean, that's his story, I guess. But, yeah, I don't know what you guys think, but I just, I don't know. That really pisses me off. I hope so. I get the maximum fine. It's only like a year in prison and I think $70,000. But, you know, okay, so if he does this all the time and he's saying that seals are aggressive where he's from, do you, like, it makes me wonder then, like, so are they going to be able to get like statements or testimony from people who've seen him do this before? Like, if this is what he does, like in public, you know, people, he saw the people filming, he did this in front of people. If this is what he does in public, what does he do in private? And I hope to God, if anyone knows this person, this is what I can't find. None of his like neighbors or anything seem to like be talking about him. But I do hope he doesn't have animals, because I'm just like, what the hell does this man do behind the scenes? Vague says, you probably don't remember, but from the very situation I said I would not give my opinion, and I still won't give my opinion. Part of my opinion, I will say, had a lot to do with what he said. Okay, hold on. Oh, with Nanos? Okay. Yes, I do remember that. And so I look forward to when you are going to let me know what you were thinking about him. So, yeah, let's go with, it says, Michelle says, sorry to say hi, or sorry not to say hi to anyone. Michelle says hi to everyone, you guys. And look at her cute puppy. Doing other stuff and just listening in the background. Hugs and kisses to you all as appropriate. Well, hugs and kisses to you too, Michelle. Hope you're getting stuff done on a Saturday. And I don't know, is Trish here? By the way, I was out doing my, I can't garden worth crap, but I just have a planter thing because I was trying to grow cucumbers and I saw that Trish does that. I was like, are you serious? Because that takes talent. I mean, I failed miserably, but I have tomatoes and I was cutting them today. And first of all, just like Trish, I got totally bit everywhere. And then also, oh my God, pruning them and everything. I'm not good at any of that. But anyways, it was really fun to do. Like, that's why I wanted to sit and listen to Nag's interview or whatever, but then it was bad timing. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow is finish doing that. But oh my God, I learned what those tomato plant slug things are, whatever. It was so scary today. I don't know if anyone gardens, but anyways, I had a whole adventure out there today, but I love cherry tomatoes. I'm obsessed with them now. So let me just see, because I want to just show you guys this complaint real quick though. Because I do have the docket, and I'm going to put this in the description, but I'm also just going to share with you now so you guys can track it too on your own if you want, because it's a federal case. And let's go to the complaint. Is this it? Yes. Okay. Just so I can show you guys. So it happened on Cinco de Mayo in Hawaii. And yes. Okay. So here's the offenses, right? Taking and attempting to take an endangered species of fish or wildlife within the United States or the territorial sea of the United States, taking and attempting to take any marine mammal in waters or on lands under the jurisdiction of the United States. And I think taking, also means like killing or something, you know? Okay. And so this, it's a really short complaint actually, but yeah, United States of America versus Eager, Michaelovich or something. Kitchenet. I can't, whatever. If you think you can pronounce that, let me know. But I can't. Okay. And it says, so here's the affidavit. I, Grant Demasilo, being duly sworn. Oh, let me actually go to the bigger, hold on. Let me get to the bigger version for you guys. Yeah. And then I'll put myself, wrong screen. Hold on. I'll put myself down here. And okay, here we go. So it says, okay, so declare following is true and correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. Introduction. This affidavit is submitted for the purpose of establishing probable cause that on May 5th, 2026, within the District of Hawaii, Igor the defendant committed an illegal taking and attempted taking an endangered species and marine mammal, namely a Hawaiian monk seal, in violation of Title 16, United States Code sections, and then list the sections. I am a special agent with the United States Department of Commerce, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, National Marine Fisheries Services, Office of Law Enforcement. So it's the NOAAOLE. In the Pacific Islands Division, and have been so employed since May 27, 2008. During my tenure as a special agent, I successfully completed 507 hours of training at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia. Part of my duties include investigating violations of Endangered Species Act, ESA, and violations of the Marine Mammal Protections Act. Under the ESA, take means to harass, harm, pursue, hunt, shoot, wound, kill, trap, capture or collect, or to attempt to engage in any such conduct. So that's what the quote take means. Under the MMPA, take means to, okay, so that's for, under the ESA, that's what take means. But under the MMPA, take means to harass, hunt, capture, or kill, or attempt to harass, hunt, capture, or kill any marine mammal. Under the MMPA, the term harassment means any act or pursuit, torment, or annoyance which, 1, has the potential to injure a marine mammal or marine mammal stock in the wild, or 2, has the potential to disturb a marine mammal or marine mammal stock in the wild by causing disruption of behavioral patterns, including, but not limited to, migration, breeding, feeding, or sheltering. Over the past 5 years, I have conducted numerous investigations regarding the illegal taking and harassment of protected species, including the Hawaiian monk seal throughout the Hawaiian Islands, including Kauai, Oahu, Molokai, Maui, and Hawaii. And okay, so it's just more background. Okay, I just want to get to it. Okay, statement of probable cause. On May 5th, at approximately 10:55 a.m., an officer with the Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources was dispatched to 385 Front Street, Lahaina, Maui, to investigate a reported harassment of an endangered Hawaiian monk seal. The reporting witness provided the DLNR officer with a cell phone video recording of the incident. I reviewed the video and determined that it depicts a Hawaiian monk seal swimming in shallow water parallel to the shoreline, while a Caucasian male wearing a white shirt and blue shorts watches the seal in close proximity from the beach and shallow waters of the ocean. The Hawaiian monk seal has been listed as an endangered species throughout its range under the ESA since 1976. The Hawaiian monk seal is also protected under the MMPA. And in the cell phone video, the man can be seen holding a large rock with one hand, aiming and throwing it directly at the monk seal. From the video, it appears the rock landed in the water, narrowly missing the seal's head, but causing the animal to abruptly alter its behavior, rearing the top half of its body up out of the water briefly and turning in the opposite direction. Screenshots from the video are included below. According to witness statements, the monk seal continued swimming in the water and remained in the same general area, not coming ashore to the beach following the incident. Oh, poor baby. I don't see any turtles around here, do you guys? I mean, where's these turtles that he was protecting? Poor little baby. Witness 1 reported to the DLNR officer that on May 5th, 2026, at approximately 10:39 a.m., Witness 1 was standing on land in front yard of 385 Front Street when she observed a man standing in close proximity to a Hawaiian monk seal that was playing with a log in the water. Witness 1 described the seal as clearly not aggressive. As the seal began to swim away, so he was swimming away. The individual picked up a rock the size of a coconut and threw it directly at the seal's head. The seal sprung out of the water, startled, and then moved a short distance away, after which it remained largely immobile for a half hour. When confronted by Witness 1, the individual walked away. Witness 1 and Witness 2 told the man that law enforcement had been contacted. Good for these guys. Seriously. You know, see something, do something. And I'm glad that they called it. And actually, when I was looking up, because I just kind of wanted to learn more about like the history of the monk seal in Hawaii and why they're endangered and all that stuff. And there's a lot there. But one of the things I saw in the material that when I was looking it up is almost like in every one, it says like there's all these numbers you can call. There's like 2 or 3 different ones to call if you see one that looks like it's hurt, and then it defines like what hurt means. It's like if they're lying and beaching, they're okay. If it has an open wound, it's not okay. So Like, this is something, it looks like the natives of the land, it's something very important to them. And it's very, and but there's also freaking signs on the beach, and even this beach, where it says, do not go close to them, do not harm them. And if you see anything, there's the number to call. So, but good on these people for actually doing that. Witness 1 and Witness 2 told the man that law enforcement had been contacted. The individual stated he did not care and was rich enough to pay any fines, which is why I'm just saying he opened the door. That's because if he hadn't said this, I probably wouldn't have looked into his businesses. But because he said that is why I kind of started. And I kind of dropped the seed, and I hope other people will pick it up and look into it more. And I hope that there's going to be some forensic counting of his accounts, because I don't know. I'm just saying at the very minimum, it looks like some sort of false, maybe possibly false advertising there, but I have a lot of questions. 9. Witness 2 reported to the officer that on May 5th, 2026, while conducting a photo shoot, Witness 2 observed a seal known as Lonnie swimming around in the ocean and playing with a log. Witness 2 said Witness 1 began recording a video on his cell phone after observing a couple standing very close to the seal. Witness 2 observed a tall Caucasian man wearing a white shirt and blue surf shorts picked up a rock the size of a coconut and threw it directly toward the seal's head. Witness 2 said the seal jumped and tried to swim away, but ended up laying on the reef in the water and saw it playing around like it had before. Witness 2 said the seal did not move for a long time, so long that Witness 2 and Witness 1 became concerned if it was even alive still. Witness 2 reported that the individual who threw the rock walked away, stating he was rich enough to pay the fines, and failed to check on the welfare of the animal, even though the seal clearly seemed hurt. That's another red flag to me, you guys. If it's true, he said he's rich enough to pay the, quote, fines, I feel like he is admitting he knew he did something wrong, right? Why would you pay a fine if you weren't doing anything wrong? So the fact that his lawyer is saying, oh, he thought he was a hero, you know, he was scaring the turtles away, or he was scaring the seal away from these turtles. He really likes turtles. Okay, but obviously, if he thought that there was a fine, and if he knew there's a fine, he knows he didn't do something right. So I'm just saying, it's just my opinion. Okay, following interviews with witnesses and a review of the video footage, the DLNR officer identified the individual who threw the rock at the monk seal as, I'm just going to say Igor, via comparison of the video footage and Igor's Washington state driver's license photo, see below, and then they put the number. Igor was on vacation in Maui and stayed at am I saying that right? Lahani? I don't know. Shores Beach Resort, located off Front Street, Hawaii. Okay. The officer informed Igor that the investigation of the incident would be referred to federal authorities at NOAA or NOAA for potential criminal enforcement action. After reading his Miranda rights, Igor acknowledged understanding his rights, exercised his right to remain silent, and declined to provide a statement. The contact was then terminated. I mean, he has a very punchable face, I'll say that, right? Okay, I reviewed photographs of Igor obtained from various law enforcement agencies. I also reviewed the photographs and video taken of Igor during the incident on May 5th, 2026. Based on a comparison of these records, I have determined that the individual depicted in the photographs and videos collected by the DLNR officer and the witness is Igor. Conclusion. Based on the foregoing, I believe there's probable cause to conclude Igor committed violation of Title 16 U.S. Code section, very, very long, for intentionally taking and attempting to take a Hawaiian monk seal on May 5th, 2026. And it just says the criminal complaint affidavit in support thereof were presented to or approved by and probable cause to believe that the defendant above named committed the charged crime found to exist by the undersigned judicial officer. And this was on May 12th. And yeah, so he's going to go to Hawaii. And then let me go back again. What date did we say that was, that his appearance is? Let me see. On the 27th. So I think it's a Wednesday. So what do you guys think? And I mean, I don't know. I mean, okay, so he's not going to get like that much, right? The max is going to be what, like, you know, $70,000 and, you know, a year in jail. I don't know if he'll get that. But maybe unless something more. Like, I mean, honestly, I'm so petty, but just don't mess with animals. That really pisses me off. Like, if it was me, I would try to pull up if there's any security camera footage around all the beaches near wherever he was staying. I would just see, did he mess with any other animals? Throw on some more charges on there, maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying that's what I would do, but I know, thank God the seal actually wasn't hurt. And yeah. Sorry, I think I got behind on the chat. Hold on one second. Let me go back to here. Yeah, firing squad, says Khaleesi. Kenny says he needs to be rich and bruises. I think Lonnie would agree with that as well. Justice for Lonnie. Leave the animals alone. I agree. It makes me so mad. That's not his job. Good point, Kenny. It's not his job to protect the turtles. And honestly, that doesn't look like there's any turtles anywhere in the vicinity of this seal anyways. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Yeah. And yeah, you think he was lying. I think so too. Theon just puts a face like, what? I know. His lawyer, and it made me mad because his lawyer said something like, oh, he's a fisherman and he deals with aggressive seals in Washington. I was like, I don't think you're allowed to be throwing rocks at seals' head in Washington either. And then his lawyer also said something like, and like similar to, I think he said like LA and San Francisco seals. And I seriously, it made me so mad because I actually know someone who has one of those water bike businesses like on a pier where there's a lot of seals, and they're not aggressive there. So I don't know what he's talking about. His lawyer, I don't like his lawyer at all. Hate him too. Did he get off? No, he didn't get off yet. We're gonna see him in court. Well, we're not gonna actually see him because it's federal court, because this was a federal crime. But we're gonna hear about it because the locals, I'm sure, are gonna let us know. Sea lions and seals are not the same, though. Sea lions are more aggressive than seals, but this is a seal, not a sea lion. And she's 22 years old. One of the articles I read said that she had recently had a pup, like literally like the day before or something. But I don't know if they're getting her confused with a different one, because I haven't seen that verified by any other source. But it was an actual like news source that said it. But we'll see. Put the seal on the stand. Get away from the seal. Don't attack them. Yeah, right? Just get away from them. Yeah, you don't attack them. Gail says, glad he got his ass kicked, but they're changing the law here in Queensland in regard to animal cruelty. There's 2 recent cases that have come to light, but the law is named after a dog that got killed. Oh, so they're changing it for the better? Thank goodness. That's always a good thing. He abuses animals when he fishes. Yeah. And I'm just curious. I hope that he doesn't have an animal. He was with his wife who watched him do this and didn't seem alarmed at all. So like, I don't know. I'm just, now that this has come out, I hope that there are people brave enough to also come out. And this is never like an isolated thing. And also people who hurt animals never stop there. So it says Army's law is being brought forward because Army's was a shepherd that was left to die in a hot car that the owner claimed was stolen, but he left it there while having an affair. Oh my God. That's so sad. Well, and it's true. There's a law, like in the United States, there's the right to rescue. So if you do see an animal in a car, you're allowed to break the window to get it out. I mean, you can try not breaking the window first and try to, find the person or call the cops, but you can let them know, I'm going to break this window if I can't get the animal out. And you have a right to do that. It's called the right to rescue. Grant says his lying to justify his animal cruelty. I know. Sorry, not sorry, says Kenny. Yeah. Roosevelt, the last entry says he was arrested. Well, yeah, he was arrested, he was, that's where we got his mugshot. And then he, I don't know if he had bond or whatever in Seattle, but basically because he was back in Seattle. So then they basically said he had to go to the hearing they took his passport and said he had to go to his hearing in Hawaii. So I wonder how that works. Like, does he just have to book his own flight, or does he have to be like escorted by cops? I don't really know how that works, but he's not locked up. So, and don't even get me started. Like, oh my God, on ankle monitors and stuff. Did you guys see what happened in Chicago with the ankle monitor? I'll show that after this. Khaleesi says, sounds like he admitted to what he's done. Case closed, lock him up. Bye. I know, right? Bye. Roses Wild. On a happier note, I seen a seal playing with dogs yesterday. No, they shouldn't be playing with dogs. That is actually how a lot of them got hurt. Like when people have their dogs off leash near where seals are, that's usually how they end up getting like injured and stuff. But I'm glad the video you saw was cute and that didn't happen. People do say that seals are like the dogs of the sea. Okay, so. Oh, Galeth, good point. Probably because he's paid fines to get out of trouble before. Yeah, how did he know that? Like, that's very interesting that he said that, right? Good point. I do hope that they look up his history. Kenny said it's not his place to get involved with wildlife no matter what was happening. Agree. Gal says, Kenny, I disagree. Depends on the situation as to know how you handle any issues regarding wildlife. Well, yeah, like for example, like when, Ozzy got out and apparently I was interfering with coyotes. I think Ozzy did most of the work fighting them off, but I think also when they saw me was when they ran away. So, and I was told later that like I could have been bit. I didn't even know coyotes bite people. I've been around coyotes my whole life. I was like, oh, I didn't even know that. Good to know. Khaleesi, so Christine says, Khaleesi, I totally agree that when you travel, you should research and understand where you're going for safety and respect. And I agree with that, but also there are literally signs on the beach. So yeah. You guys are so good. I love this chat. So we're gonna keep going with that. And did I put the court listener in the chat? I think I did. But if I didn't, I'll do it one more time. Hold on. If anyone's like want to keep tracking, I think it's gonna I think actually it'll stay on this docket. Okay, so we're gonna go to this. Okay, but before we do that, I just want to show you guys, speaking of ankle monitors, let me see if I put it on here. Did you guys see this in Chicago? Speaking of true crime, let me get to this one. Okay.
They have lost track of. Now, Bill, shocking details out of the Chicago area. A judge says they have lost track of hundreds of people who were placed on ankle monitors, all while facing pending criminal cases. The total number now thought to be at nearly 250 people. Terrifying. Mike Tobin is live in Chicago. He's got more details on this for us. Hi, Mike.
And Sandra, it works out to 8% of the people on electronic monitoring in the pretrial program in Cook County and Chicago who are unaccounted for. Even the state's attorney says we should all be deeply concerned. This is the same system that was ignored by Lawrence Reed, a career violent criminal with 72 arrests. His ankle monitor showed that he'd been out all night twice and was violating his curfew on November 17th of last year when police say he boarded Chicago's L train and set a complete stranger, Bethany McGee, on fire. This is the same ankle monitor system that was ignored by 26-year-old Alfonso Talley. Records show he'd been in trouble for all of his adult life. He disregarded his curfew to the point that he didn't get home to charge the battery and the ankle monitor went dead. Police say on April 25th, he went on a crime spree that ended with a mother of three, pistol whip with a broken nose, one police officer dead, another fighting for his life. 3,048 people were released pre-trial on electronic monitoring. Almost 20% of them are charged with violent crimes, 7% aggravated.
Sorry, I said no sound. How long was I no sound for? Not as 6 minutes like last time, right? So, okay, this is the why. 246. I know, right? I did it this time though, you guys, right? How that wasn't that long, right? Ozzy, please tell DFJ to turn her mic on. Oh my god, I'll play that next. So not too long. Okay, so basically, here's 246 criminals are AWOL, and that's Cook County. But the reason why this bothers me is because of this guy in Lake County. This is the arsonist, right? Edward Aragon. I don't know, because we can't get access to the court documents because Lake County Courthouse is impossible. They don't let you buy it online. You can only do like snail mail, which when I called, they told me there was like a 3-month backup, or 3-week to 3-month backup or something like that. And then also, or you have to go in person. And so his sentencing keeps getting continued. And I was like, is he missing? I mean, this is Lake County, but it's right outside Chicago. Cook County is Chicago. I'm just like, do they use the same system, the ankle monitor system? And is this just a Cook County thing, or is it in other? That's really alarming to me. Like, that's actually kind of insane. And so sorry about my mic. But this is, I don't know, maybe it had nothing to do with it, but that's just how that whole thing got on my radar. But God, I mean, I hope anyone who's in the Chicago area, if anyone in our chat is, I hope you guys stay safe. So yeah, speaking of the mic thing, maybe I'll just show this really quick just as a joke. So I forgot to unmute my mic before. And, so I was going to finally get like 2 screens, because they say when you have 2 screens, like you can kind of see it. You can't really see if you're about the mic, but at least I could see the chat at the same time I'm doing something else. And so, but the little connector thing didn't come today. My other connector didn't work. It would always like glitch. So I stopped using the second screen, but I'm going to have to do it. But I just want to show you guys something. This was something funny I made really quick. I'm going to go to this. Wait.
Hi, I'm Ozzy. I'm just trying to get some sun, and I'm trying to tell my mom to turn your mic on.
Hold
Crazy woman.
Uh-oh. Did I turn the sound off?
6 minutes. Hi, I'm Ozzy. I'm just trying to get some sun, and I'm trying to tell my mom to turn your mic on. Crazy woman. 6 minutes, no mic. I told her, instead of brushing me, she should probably turn her mic on. Don't I have the cutest things ever? I like to jump so much, she had to turn this shelf into a cat tree. And I already have a cat tree. What a sucker. You know what else she should do? She should probably turn her freaking mic on. This is my catio. I love my catio. I can come outside whenever I want to. Oh, look at my floating shelf. I was attacked by coyotes. See, I had the red eye, I was in the oxygen tank, and my hair still hasn't grown back. I'm still missing some nails, they haven't come back. I have real problems. You know what my mom's sad about? She forgot to turn her mic on.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm on.
So I did it now twice in a row. And speaking of it, should we just check in on him? Let me share this tab instead. There he is. Do you guys see him? He's just so cute, just laying there being Ozzy. Let me see if this, yeah. In his catio, getting his sun. There's a little door like right next to the mat, like a little doggy door that you can go in and out, but he loves it out there. So yeah, let me stop sharing this screen and we'll go back to here. Uh-oh. Let me see. This is, yeah, no. I'm sorry. Why do people who are charged with violent crimes get out? Says Kenny. I don't know. I think it's crazy. It's too crazy to me. And the fact that there's 246 missing, that's like a lot. And then I don't know. And I think that they don't even know who they all are or something, because the whole system's messed up. So I have to go share this one again. Hold on one second. We're going to go back here, because when I take something off the stage, I have to reshare it. It's a whole thing. All right, here we go. So we are going to go back to this case again for another update. Here we go. Let me see. And let me just check in with you guys before I do that. DFJ, you should see what kangaroos do to dogs. They drown them. Oh my gosh, Gareth. You're the bearer of good news around here. Okay, so call back to Jersey Shore. Um, okay, you did see this. Not surprised about Chicago. Scary says, Elsie, I know. Thorne says, what happened? What do you mean? Oh, what happened to the oh, my sound? Sorry, I didn't turn my mic on. Says, I'm sorry, why do people yeah, okay, so I saw that one. Oh, you blame Ryan for the sound. I know, me too. I always do. Okay. Ozzy, please tell GFJ to turn the mic on. All right, so we did that. We did that. And all right, let me see where we are. It's unusual, says Rose is Wild, for it to keep getting so many continuances with the with that guy's case. I don't know what's going on with that. So like I mean, Team Truth is so big. Do we not know anyone who has access to that courthouse? Can we get some documents? I want to know what's going on. We need to hold judges accountable. You can also use a tablet or an iPad to have the chat up. I know, so I do, but the iPad is so old. It's even like, it's so delayed, and the chat screen is so small and it doesn't pop out. So like I did try doing that. Let me see if I could do it this way, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna keep working with it. Don't worry. We're gonna work. I'm gonna make it so it's not a big thing. I can't believe I did it twice, but what am I gonna do? Like, it is what it is. LOL, turn your freaking mic on. Yeah, spoiled baby. He is such a spoiled baby. His place is bigger than mine. I know. So that was honestly when I was like house like hunting. The one thing my grandfather's like, we need to make sure it has a place where we can make an some sort of outdoor enclosure for Ozzy. So that we almost picked our house to make sure it had a good thing for Ozzy. Yeah. So I mean, he's like the most spoiled cat in the world now, and he deserves it because he's been through literally hell, and he's such a badass. And I just feel really bad. He has a dentist appointment next week, and they might have to take out some of his rotted teeth, like in the back, on the side. So yeah. Anyways, so the false accuser. So let's look at this lineup, okay? So these two are the Trevor Bauer ones. Well, allegedly, okay? This was the first one, Lindsay Hill. Remember, she was blonde, and I actually have another picture of that to show you guys. Because in case, like, whatever, it looked like two different people. So she was blonde originally, and then she went to the press. It was a whole big thing, and then there was a hearing, and the judge was like, well, we don't believe you, for the restraining order or whatever. And so that case was basically dropped, and then he sued her for defamation, got the discovery, and then proved basically that she was making up a lot of stuff. And this is all like allegedly. You can believe what you want, but it appears that way. And then and then she ended up posting. So then they settled. They had an NDA. Brian Friedman was her lawyer. Oh my God, I have to show you guys something funny I pulled up with that, by the way, because then she ended up switching law firms. And one of the things that came out when he did sue her for defamation in the discovery was that Snapchat video where she was in the bed with him laughing, and she videotapes her and him in bed and he's sleeping. So that never came out, initially, that only came out after the fact. And apparently she didn't send it to any of her lawyers, but she said that she had texted it to Brian Friedman. So he wrote something being like, I don't know her. It was really interesting. So I'll show that in a sec. But so that was the first case. And then this was the second one. And this is the one that was just refiled in Arizona with this Darcy Adana Asamanu. And this one was Lindsay Hill right here. And now she's in Tennessee, but California, Tennessee, and Arizona. So I just wanted to show that. So, and we're going to watch his video in 1 second. But so I just think it's interesting. And these two at the end, so this is Laura Owens right here. She's also a false accuser. And and look, notice that all three of these alleged false accusers have mugshots. Not yet this one. And this is my opinion. Blake Lively is a false accuser. But, I'm just wondering, do you think one day she'll get a mugshot too? I mean, I don't know for what. It seems like they get away with everything, but, I don't know. But all these people, there's something in common, and there's something about all of them. And that's why I think maybe once you keep seeing stuff like that, it's easier to pick up when people are not telling the truth, about these kinds of things, because false accusations ruin people's lives. And it ruined Trevor Bauer's career, in my opinion, which sucks. And just for a recap, because I know we went over the Adana's case last time, or the Darcy's case last time, but some people are like, wait, I don't even know what's going on. So I want to make sure I had shown this once before, but we'll show it again just to show all what happened to him.
Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. A text Lindsay Hill sent to a friend before she ever even met me. What should I steal? She asked another, in reference to visiting my house for the first time. The answer? Take his money. So how might that work? I'm going to his house Wednesday.
Oh, shoot. I knew that was going to happen. Hold on. I'm just going to open the link instead.
Felony fraud against me. Imagine that. One of the women who accused me of sexual assault just got indicted for committing felony fraud against me. Imagine that. Let me catch up to speed. In the last 3 years, 2 women have taken legal action against me. Lindsay Hill started all this. You may remember her from this video as the girl who set me up and lied to the world in an attempt to take my money. Well, today, the only other one, Darcy Adana Simonu, has been criminally indicted for committing felony fraud against me and another man. So now she's facing up to 16 years in prison. Her claims are even more absurd than Lindsay's were. So here's some of the details. We had one plain sexual encounter in December of 2020. Nothing that could be considered remotely rough. She initiated it, but don't take my word for it. Take hers. This is a picture and text message she sent me the next morning explaining why she came on to me. And for months afterwards, she repeatedly requested to sleep with me again. For example, this text from January 7th, 2021. At one point, she even requested a sample of my sperm so she could have my child whenever she wanted to in the future. Now, it's hard to keep track, but she's made at least 4 7-figure demands over the last few years. More than a year after the one time we slept together, and only after Lindsay Hill made up her false allegations, Adana retained a lawyer. She then demanded $3.6 million and claimed I forced her to have an abortion, leaving her emotionally devastated and irretrievably damaged by it. But here's the thing. She never had an abortion because she was never even pregnant, and that's corroborated by her own medical records. When I refused to pay her the $3.6 million she was asking for, she made up a bogus sexual assault claim and filed a civil suit against me. In that version of her story, she claimed, for the first time, by the way, that there was non-consensual sex, but her texts from the next morning show what actually happened. Remember this text in which she explains why she came on to me? She also claims that instead of an abortion, she actually had a miscarriage, but that's impossible, of course, because, again, she was never even pregnant. We now have emails between her and the first 2 law firms that dropped her in which they acknowledge they never had any evidence to support her claims, but they'll try to get my money anyway. I then shared an audio recording I have in which Adana contradicts her own claims and asks me for money. In the emails, her lawyers agreed that that's insurmountable evidence, and they inform Adana that they can no longer represent her unless she can provide documentation or proof of her claims. And of course, she couldn't do that, so the law firm urged her to consult other law firms with different standards. Now, Adana has filed more than 10 police reports claiming sexual assault or harassment against other men, including at least one other professional athlete. But after the Scottsdale police completed their investigation into her claim against me, she's the one being indicted for felony fraud. And not just against me, against another man as well. She made up bogus sexual assault claims and attempted to extort him too. And it gets worse. In my lawsuit against her, we subpoenaed a witness whom she knew for relevant documents to use in our case. And when she found out, she immediately made sexual assault claims against him too. Her MO is clear. Lie to men to get their money, extort them if she must, and when they refuse to pay, stop paying or stop giving her what she wants, go to the police, accuse them of sexual assault, and file a civil suit against them to retaliate. And just so no one can say, well, he still has 2 other accusers. Just because the first 2 are complete frauds doesn't mean the others are. Here's a couple facts about them. They both had lawyers first demand in excess of $3 million to not go public. In both cases, only after I refused to pay any sum of money did the lawyers make anonymous claims in the media. They both had the opportunity to file a criminal complaint against me. Neither of them did. They both had the opportunity to file a civil suit against me. Neither of them did. They both had the opportunity to participate in Lindsay Hill's civil suit against me. They could have even done so anonymously. They both refused. One of them even submitted a statement to the court stating that she never made public accusations against me. The other refused to participate so vehemently that Lindsay Hill took legal action against her, trying to force her to participate. She still refused. So they both had the opportunity to testify under penalty of perjury. Neither of them did. One can only wonder why. Perhaps it's because all their claims against me are lies. Now, it's been 2 years since these women and their lawyers attempted.
Yeah. So that's like basically, you know, a summary to catch up on that case, but like, don't let her meet Laura Owens. I think they're ideally, in an ideal world, they would share a cell together, right? Hey, Trish, you said you just woke up from nap. How are you? By the way, you had a shout out earlier because I missed last time that you garden cucumbers, which is amazing because I tried and failed. And so now I have cherry tomatoes and I love them, but I do get bit. My feet got eaten up by mosquitoes out there today. And I love them, but like I'm really bad at it. Whatever. I think my plants are gonna die. But anyways, very cool. Good to see you with our chat, baby. Okay, so yeah, so when do you think by like at what point, can Trevor Bauer get his life back? Because like he's never gonna be able to play in the Major League Baseball again. Like he was, and any time he posts, he still gets attacked because it was a mainstream media that ran with Lindsay's complaint. And again, it was just like, this is why it's textbook. Anytime I see any like accusation of SA go to the media, like it's printed in the media before I see it like in court, or like before I see a police report or anything, it's a red flag. So I don't know. There was a lot of things about her, but I want to show two things. One was the Brian Friedman affidavit, and now I already lost it. Hold on, I downloaded it. Oh, Hill Freeman. Okay, let me just see what docket number it is. It is 1964. So let's go to that, because I thought it was kind of funny for this case. All right, sorry, I didn't have it pulled up already, but yeah, it's just like the Laura Owens case, and you know, I don't know. There's something like really wrong with people who do this, in my opinion. So yeah, this is funny. So we're gonna share this one. Okay. This is an affidavit from Brian Friedman that was in the previous lawsuit, which is now closed. But when he just said he's an attorney at law, licensed practice law in California. He said on June 29th, 2021, Lindsay Hill filed a petition against Trevor Bauer in Los Angeles Superior Court seeking a DV restraining order. Although Meyer, Olson, Lowry, and Myers LLP, Mulm, was Hill's lead and primary counsel in the DVRO proceeding, I was later associate in as Hill's counsel of record in the proceeding. After I associated in, Mulm remained lead and primary counsel in the DVRO proceeding. On July 5th, 2021, Hill transmitted the Snapchat video to me by text message. I was not taking an active role in the DVRO proceeding and assumed that Mulm had received the Snapchat video. I also assumed that Mulm would be responsible for the production of any documents to Bauer in the DVRO proceeding to the extent any production was even required. I never transmitted the Snapchat video to Mulm. Other than the July 5th text message, which had been produced, my firm, F&T, which Freeman and, what is it, Tullier or something? Does it say up here? But yeah, Freeman and Tatelman, right? And I did not have any written communications with anyone concerning the Snapchat video that predates the commencement of this lawsuit on April 2022. No such communications have ever existed. So anyways, so basically, I mean, I that's why I think Brian Freeman, like, you know, stopped representing her. She had someone else representing her for, you know, for at the end of all her legal stuff. But hello, Mr. Ozzy, he just came inside. But I wanted to show you something that was like kind of cool in this case. This is the Lindsay Hill one, which is over now, but it bleeds into the other case that we're watching with Arizona because, okay, there was a part in here, and I wish that this had gotten more traction. And I don't know if any of you guys remember it, but this is what I think. I wish that we had seen this with other false accusers cases, like when someone has a backbone and steps up and does the right thing. And I just want to show you something. It says, okay, just making sure you're all still here. Are you guys interested in this? We still have a few more fun things. We're just Saturday chilling, going through some of these cases of catching up. But this is what I found. I feel like if we saw this in more of these false accuser cases, it would be more helpful. And I do think it was helpful here. So this was back in July 5th, 2021. And this was a letter, and it says, Dear Miss Hawley, that was Trevor Bauer's lawyer. We recently discussed my client's possession of an exculpatory evidence for your client, Trevor Bauer. Given the attention my client has received over the last few days, he asked me to release the exculpatory evidence in a respectful, neutral manner. To maintain neutrality, we provided the evidence to a well-informed news source which intends to make the information public. As such, Mr. Bauer is now authorized to use the attached Instagram direct messages and iPhone instant messages in any lawful manner that you advise. The relationship between my client and Jane Doe is best described as platonic friends. Jane Doe is Lindsay Hill, you know, the first alleged false accuser. In that my client has for several years socialized with Jane Doe. He also supported her at times of distress. One such event was mentioned in a message Jane Doe sent to my client asking, was it about when you took me to the hospital? LOL. For context, my client had informed Jane Doe that he was speaking with your investigator, Russell Green, who was asking for information about her. I just want to make sure my mic is still on. You can still hear me. Yes? Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm going to get some water really quick. Hold on. Okay. The hospital incident, which she referenced in reply, refers to a night out with Jane Doe when she became so inebriated on alcohol and weed that my client was compelled to rush her to an emergency room. After she was released from the ER, Jane Doe said her parents told her to seek treatment or move out of the family home. Jane Doe asked my client if she could live with him instead, but my client said no. During this discussion, Jane Doe claimed that she had been raped by a mutual friend of theirs, something my client then found difficult to believe. Looking back, my client questions whether Jane Doe falsely accused his friend because she was trying to manipulate my client into letting her stay at his home. So it seems like people who make these false accusations, maybe it's something they do more than once. The other messages are somewhat self-explanatory. If you would like more context for any of them, please feel free to call me. However, please make sure that nobody from the defense side contacts my client without my consent. Coming forward like this was not easy for my client. He feels torn between exposing a friend he believes is suffering from a mental sickness and remaining silent when your client's career is derailed because he has been falsely accused. During our first conversation, I asked my client why he would get involved in this mess, and his response was simply to do the right thing. As you know from Jane Doe versus Grant Robichaux case, my firm almost exclusively represents female victims of SA. But we also defend men who have been falsely accused. Not only do fake claims turn the defendants' lives into a living nightmares, they also hurt other victims, particularly those who are scared to come forward out of fear that nobody will believe them. Although I rarely see a case brought under false pretenses, all it takes is one high-profile matter like this to impact public perception of thousands of righteous SA actions. For these reasons, my client has asked me to release this information, which Jane Doe remains free to refute or explain because he is convinced that it's the right thing to do. And then sincerely, the Gillian law firm APC, and it's Daniel M. Gillian. I mean, yeah, and again, this is all going to be linked in the description afterwards. But just like if, you know, how she basically set it up and what she was messaging it to him, you know, as if like, you know, that nothing happened really with Trevor Bauer. There was no essay or anything. And she was basically saying, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff there you could read. But the whole point of me sharing that was just, pretty much because like if we had seen something like that in other cases, you know, would it have helped? You know, I felt like it was something like Baldoni's case. I mean, people were scared to say anything because they were scared that they would never work in Hollywood again, you know? Let me make sure this is sharing. Sorry. Yeah, but I just thought that was a really cool thing, you know, to see someone coming out and to do the right thing. Because I just feel like we still like almost never see that. And that law firm, you know, it was just representing someone like who knew that he didn't think that like one of the false accusers was telling the truth. So, you know, thank goodness for that person. But the media never really ran with that, you know, and that was on the public docket. Anyone could read that, and you know, they just still just, you know, eviscerate people and whatever. So, anyways, okay. So if that's boring you, we're gonna keep going, and we're going to stay on this Darcy case, you know, the false accuser in Arizona. Laura Owens, that case seems to have so many other things that have happened in the past like 5 days. I still need to catch up on that. But Darcy and Laura Owens, both of their cases are being heard in Maricopa County, Arizona. So that's kind of cool out there. But just, you know, something to think about. Sorry if you think, no, it's okay. Everyone do your thing on Saturday. I want everyone to do their thing. I just hope I'm not boring anyone, because like I still have some more stuff. But I just felt like that was felt like it was something that's maybe like, I don't know. It's something that I felt was missing from the It Ends With Us case with, you know, because like no one was willing to come forward and say like that they saw that these were false accusations. And we know that Lively has made false accusations like the makeup artist for touching her lips or whatever and gets fired. So just things like that. Trish says, what's in the water in Maricopa County? You know, I would want to get my water tested if I was there, for reals. So, oh, you appreciate my lives. Well, thank you, Just Khaleesi. Well, we're going to keep going then, because I'm not even done yet. So, okay, so we did the Trevor Bauer, the false accusers. Yeah, that docket's crazy. Oh yeah, so one more funny thing in that docket though was that it was the Lindsay and Trevor docket Lindsay Hill and Trevor Bauer docket was that they both did a joint stipulation for a motion to compel of Darcy. They both wanted the court to like force her that the other false accuser because to be, I think, deposed because Lindsay wanted her to back up Lindsay's story and Trevor was like, no, I want her deposed because we already know she's lying because we already know that he had filed a case against her or she had filed a case against him, and so he had he made a police report and then filed like an action against her, and then the district attorney took on that case, or the county attorney, whatever. So they both wanted her, and I don't know if she ever came. Oh, because they settled before they even had to. But anyways, let me go back to my slides, which I somehow lost. Okay, we're over here. Oh yes. Okay, so now we're on Avatar. You guys ready for some Avatar? Vague. I love hearing all this. I'm cooking burgers, getting ready to watch my friend fight tonight. Who? Oh my God! Wait, are you talking about the Ronda Rousey fight? What time is that at? Let me just look that up. Ronda Rousey and Gina, right? What time is that at? Ugh. What time? It is at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. I'm so excited. I love watching the fights. Okay, is it a rich people's fight club? Says just let me see. Okay, so she should be fighting 8 your time. Is she your friend? Is that your friend? Well, I'm so excited to watch that too. I love watching the fights. Okay, the Avatar case. So something crazy happened here. I think they made a huge mistake, you guys. Okay, so basically, it was filed as a federal case, okay, in California, and there's some like rule in California that it first will automatically go to a magistrate judge, and then you have like, I think it's like 15 days or something to file something saying you don't want a magistrate judge, you want like a local district judge, okay? But which they did, and which they should not have done. I am almost confused what the hell they were thinking, because let me see if I can go to this slide. Hold on. The magistrate judge that they were assigned to, okay, was Alka Sagar. And she was the first female Indian American federal judge in the nation. And I was like, I don't know. I first of all, I hate all magistrate judges in California. In my opinion, I've not seen one that has any sort of competence whatsoever. And then I saw on Cassidy's stream once, or I think it was when we did the Van Zandt anniversary stream together. She was mentioning that the magistrate judges, like in South Carolina or something, like they don't even have to actually be judges, like, or go to law school. Like they can just be appointed. Like there's some weird stuff going on there. But the ones in California, I think, are terrible. So. But this one, that was the one they were assigned, and they opted out. And I was like, oh my God, you should have stuck with her. Because I think like that would have been your best case, in my opinion. Because remember, we're going to go back and like, I just want to revisit something in this Avatar case. I think the whole thing is very strange. But I realized last time, because I was so like, I was looking at the exhibits and the essay, or the, whatever they called, the corn claim. I was so focused on that like, I didn't even read the beginning of the complaint, and I think it's worth reading, and I want to just read it for us here. But they got a different judge now, and his name is William. Let me see if I have the slide for it. Yeah, here we go. It is William Sue. I think that's how you say the last name. Yeah, so it's going to be on his docket or in his courtroom, but it's federal, so we're not going to really hear much. But the docket is on Court Listener, so we'll keep following that. But I'm going to read the beginning of this complaint because I just want you guys to hear this really quick. Hold on. I'm going to mute and unmute really quick. I just need a sip of tea. Hold on. Okay. All right. We are going to go to the beginning. We're going to just read this. So here's the court docket. This is not the one I wanted. Hold on. Oh, yeah, this one. Okay. So we're going to go to the main complaint. I still don't think that she has the strongest case, but I think that, in my opinion, I think they messed up changing judges, in my opinion. but I could be wrong. So again, this is I don't even know how to say her name, Corey Kana Kilsher, and then versus like James Cameron, Lightstorm Entertainment, 20th Century Fox, Walt Disney Company, Avatar Alliance Foundation, Stan Winston Studios, Gentle Giant Studios. I mean, there's a lot of so many people. Okay, but let's just read the beginning, and then I'm also gonna put another poll in the chat because last time we did a poll like, does she have a case or not? But now after reading this, I want to tell me if you still think if she does or not. Hold on, let's do a poll. New poll. Does Avatar lady have a case? Yes. Okay, 1 will be yes, 2 will be no. Uh-oh. Is this gonna work? Start and show. Okay. All right, we have that. Let me go back to the comments. And so you put 1 for if you think she has a case and 2 if you don't. But let me read this first, then you guys tell me what you think. Is that Ozzy? Oh my God, he's so cute. He's sitting right here. By the way, I'm allergic to cats. So sometimes that's why I have to get more water. But I love them. Okay. Oh my God, wait, I just got a new monthly supporter. Oh my gosh, Khaleesi. That is so generous. Thank you so much. She donated on my Buy Me a Coffee. And she says Aussie Fund. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Khaleesi, and me and Ozzy do a lot. Okay, we're going to start this. It says, introduction. This case exposes how one of Hollywood's most powerful filmmakers exploited a young Indigenous girl's biometric identity and cultural heritage to create a record-breaking film franchise without credit or compensation to her through a series of deliberate, non-expressive commercial acts. Plaintiff Coricana Kilsher, a native Peruvian actress and activist, was only 14 years old when director James Cameron extracted, replicated, and commercially deployed her facial likeness as functional biometric source data in Avatar's character design pipeline without her knowledge or consent. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, cool. Okay, we're going to keep going. Without her. Okay, this action does not seek to restrict or punish speech or artistic expression. It seeks to remedy the unlawful taking of plaintiff's property, her own face, used as a commercial production asset to generate billions of dollars in profit. The gravamen of each count is conduct, the unauthorized extraction and commercial use of plaintiff's physical likeness, not the expressive content of any film. Cameron's initial film in the series grossed nearly $3 billion worldwide, becoming the highest grossing movie of all time, yet it was built in material part on the misappropriation of a minor's biometric facial features as unpaid commercial source material. Yeah, see that part, I'm not convinced still. I don't know. Okay, James Cameron selected the facial features of Coricana Kilsher, a 15-year-old Quecca Hashapiria girl at the time, as the source for the lead female character Neytiri in the Avatar film franchise. Cameron first utilized plaintiff's likeness at the two-dimensional sketch design stage by rendering an early facial sketch of Neytiri directly from a specific photograph of Kilsher. That production sketch was circulated within the art department for character design purposes. In a subsequent production stage, Cameron separately reaffirmed that same facial selection at the sculptural maquette stage, directing lead character designer Jordu Shell to create physical bust and maquette. I'm saying that right? Maquettes? Three-dimensional sculptural reference models used to define and establish a character's facial geometry prior to digital scanning, informed by multiple photographic references of Kilsher. Those sculptures forms were thereafter reviewed and approved by Cameron, then three-dimensionally scanned at high resolution to generate a digital face model incorporated as a production asset within a standardized digital data workflow used to maintain character consistency across multiple vendors. These parallel uses, first in two-dimensional sketch form, then in physical three-dimensional dimensional sculpture, and ultimately in digital CGI models, demonstrate a deliberate and repeated systematic use of plaintiff's facial features as the source for the character of Neytiri, systematically propagated across downstream digital production assets. Cameron himself has stated in interviews that Navi were conceived as photographically real humanoids, not abstract aliens, and were intentionally designed to retain human recognizable anatomy, facial structure, and proportions as a core aesthetic objective. This was done without Kilsher's knowledge or consent. The result was a hugely lucrative film franchise that presented itself as a sympathetic to Indigenous struggles, all while silently exploiting the real Indigenous youth behind the scenes. And this is just some summary of, like, you know, whatever they're claiming. But there was one part in here, and then they say venue, jurisdiction, venue. Okay, so they're just saying, yeah, wherever. And then they're saying, okay, it exceeds $75,000. The venue is proper in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California because defendant James Cameron resides in this district. Okay. Parties, we already know. Identity was exploited. It says plaintiff. Kilsher is an Indigenous actress, activist, and artist of I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be like disrespectful, but I cannot pronounce this. Quechua Hashapiria descent of her father's side and Swiss German descent of her mother's side. From a young age, plaintiff lived a life deeply connected to her native heritage and the natural world. She spent her early childhood on the beaches of Oahu, Hawaii, where her family at times lived humbly in a tent following a hurricane, instilling in her a profound respect for nature and community. By age 9, her extraordinary talents emerged when she began performing as a singer on Santa Monica's 3rd Street Promenade, catching the eye of talent agent who helped launch her career. At 14 years old, plaintiff's life changed when she was cast to portray Pocahontas in Terrence Malick's 2005 film The New World, opposite Colin Farrell and Christian Bale. As a young Indigenous girl playing one of history's most famous Native women. Sorry, is my mic on? Okay, now I'm having like PTSD. Okay, cool. You guys are still here. All right, we're going to keep going. Hold on one second. Okay, Trish says, how did he get her picture? Snuck into her bedroom? I would make the assumption that she gave the photo with consent, signed a form or something. No, so he saw her in a movie is what they're saying. So that's where it gets like, how is that invasion of privacy? You know what I mean? And he was inspired by her. But it doesn't, her whole face wasn't replicated. I mean, I don't know. There's only one part though in here. You'll see when I get to it, I think, that I'm like, okay, there's something maybe there, but I don't know. Okay. As a young Indigenous girl playing one of history's most famous Native women, that experience awakened her lifelong dedication to Indigenous rights, sovereignty, land and water protection, and resisting exploitive industries. Okay, so as relevant here, plaintiff had limited familiarity with James Cameron's work before their fateful encounter. Aside from seeing Titanic at some point, she was not particularly aware of Cameron's prominence in Hollywood. She came to know Cameron not through film, but through mutual environmental activism circles, initially regarding him as an ally to Indigenous environmental causes. Plaintiff's mother, Sasiki Kilsher, is also a devoted Indigenous rights activist who raised plaintiff to stand up to injustice wherever it appears. This family ethos set the stage for plaintiff's shock and heartbreak upon discovering that a supposed ally like Cameron had in fact perpetrated the very exploitation of Indigenous identity that plaintiff had dedicated her life to combating. Okay, so it just said this is okay. More about how he's like an Indigenous and an activist, and how he was a vegan. He has these actions and his filmmaking. Cameron often claims to champion respect for nature and Indigenous cultures. However, as this case reveals, Cameron's actual practices have involved appropriating Indigenous cultures and even an Indigenous minors' likeness for his own creative and financial commercial benefits. I think this was so also unnecessary. Like, if he practices a vegan diet, I'm just saying, like, that's not like a performative thing. Like, if someone is making an effort to like be plant-based, I don't know. I mean, if they're going to try to like shame, I just don't see how I think this hurts her case. I don't think this helps to like do things like that. But let's just keep going. Okay, so I just want to go to the part where it says that where she found out about it. Okay, now they're saying where each of these people are from. The studio. Okay, defendant. They're just naming all the defendants and saying why they're important. Okay, blah, 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 blah. And then it goes to Cameron as an agent. Okay. And then Disney. Okay. Ratification of wrongful activity. Okay, complaint for damages. Okay, here's the statement of facts. Okay, so clear pattern of misappropriating indigenous culture in Avatar, 2009. Avatar employs a science fiction setting, but its humanoid characters and narrative framework and are grounded in design elements sourced by indigenous cultures, with the science fiction elements functioning as a contextual genre rather than the source of these design influences. Defendants did not create the Na'vi culture out of thin air. They systematically applied references from real-world indigenous cultures as visual and aesthetic design inputs within their data-driven pipeline without attributing or authorization. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry. Elsie says, in Lord of the Rings, they designed an orc mask to look like Harvey Weinstein. Is that true? Is that true? Trish says, interesting fact, one of the Disney animated characters was based on a photo of one of the artist's sisters. I believe it was Jasmine. Yeah, I mean, the people have to get inspired by certain things, right? And it's like if you're going to be in a movie like Pocahontas, that's very public. And so, I mean, if that's what inspired him, that's what inspired him. If she signs off, shouldn't she get paid for that? I don't know. It's just like celebrities sign off on AI. Everyone else has to sign off as well. But I don't know if she signed. I don't think she signed off. Vague says the whole point of being an actor or actress is selling your likeness, whether it be your personality or your looks, right? That's what I'm saying. Okay, Khaleesi's gonna tell me how to say it. Kichua. Is it Quechua? Quechua maybe? Okay, so let's keep going. Oh, and then Theone says, have you ever seen a real picture of Pocahontas? She looks nothing like the cartoon character. No, but that's another good point. Exactly. Should I look that up, though, just for reference? Pocahontas real photo. I totally did not spell her name right. Oh. Okay, hold on. Let me take a screenshot of this because it's a YouTube and I don't have to watch the thing, but and then I'll put this in a oops. Hold on. That's interesting. That's a good point. You know, because yeah, exactly. Like it's not like yeah. You know, people are inspired by different things. Okay, so it's not even letting me share this. I don't know what is going on with my computer today. Here's a side-by-side of the real and the fake. And I'm just going to put it in this screen if it'll let me, and then I can share it real quick. What is going on? Okay. Oh my God. I don't know what is going on with my Google today. I can't even share this. Okay. 1 second. Sorry for the delay. I am going to just do it like this. Sometimes StreamYard, I think, like uses so much memory that it slows everything down. Okay, so see, there's the real versus the fake of Pocahontas. So yeah, they don't even look alike. Pocahontas looks kind of, does she look white? So she's a lot darker in Disney, it looks like. Yeah, that's so interesting. And it says, if it weren't for Pocahontas, Lewis and Clark never would have survived the Columbia River. And then Garth Walker said Pocahontas was like 12 when it all went down. Oh my God, was she really? Yeah, Elijah would have talked about it. Oh, about the Harvey Weinstein being a being with the orc mask was oh my God, that is so funny, Elsie. That's so and you know, he didn't go and sue Lord of the Rings. And she was a very young girl, like 13 or 14, and they were all grown men, dirty sailors. Ugh. She would also run around naked in front of them too. Oh my God. It says, I have a friend in real life that looks like the Pocahontas from Disney. Oh, really? Well, she's gorgeous. And then Kenny says, but I don't believe she's Native American. Yeah. So anyways, we're just, let me go back to this one. Oh, I have to, hold on 1 second. I have to remove this and then I can share this. Okay. Thanks for having me look that up. That was interesting. But I think it's also relevant to what we're going to see here. But there's one part though, but I just want to keep going of this. Okay. So in Cameron's own words, the European destruction of Native people using, okay. So, or using military force in order to acquire their land and resources is the obvious basis for the Avatar story. Okay. But still, that has nothing personal to do with her, you know? And then the weaponry, the language, the spiritual beliefs. Okay. And then more of that. Okay. Franchise. Where was the part about? Hold on. Okay. So it's not. Oh, here we go. This was the part I wanted to get to. Yes. Well, it would have taken us a while to get there. It was on down here. Okay. So we're going to start. Okay. A gift that conclude. This is the part. A gift that concealed the truth. Despite Avatar's global fame, Plaintiff Kilsher, they always put her first and last name together, which is weird because they already said she was going to be Kilsher, whatever. So I just think they're really trying to lean into like this identity of what her name is. But okay. Plaintiff Kilsher remained unaware of her involuntary role in its creation for many years. This is a testament to how effectively defendants' non-disclosure and concealment of plaintiff's role within the production pipeline downplayed the nature and extent of the conduct at issue, materially delaying plaintiff's discovery and affecting claim accrual under the applicable statutes of limitation. The timeline of plaintiff's discovery is crucial, both to explain her delayed lawsuit and to demonstrate defendants' circulated misrepresentations which toll any limitations defense. Yes, because she didn't find out about this, apparently, you know, because the statute of limitations had run out. So that's one of the things they're trying to argue here. Avatar was released in December 2009. At no point around the film's release did defendants disclose to plaintiff or the public that her likeness had been used. In fact, plaintiff and Cameron had never even met in person. Is this showing? Okay. During the entire production or release of Avatar. This changed by chance on March 6, 2010, when Plaintiff and Cameron both attended a global green environmental charity event in Hollywood. Plaintiff was 19 years old then, but still vividly remembered her time as a 14-year-old Pocahontas and had become a visible activist. Cameron and Plaintiff were introduced at that event. Notably, this was the first time he ever spoke to her in any form. He struck up a friendly conversation praising her advocacy work. Quote, "I've admired your activism work in the Amazon," he told her, establishing a tone of allyship. Then he added, "An intriguing offer. I have something for you." Cameron was deliberately vague about what this something was, but he handed Plaintiff his business card and invited her to come to his office to pick up a, quote, surprise gift he had prepared. Shortly thereafter, Plaintiff, accompanied by her mother, manager, Saskia, went to Cameron's Lightstorm office in Manhattan Beach to receive this mysterious gift. Cameron himself did not attend the meeting. Instead, an assistant screened the film and presented Plaintiff with a framed artwork, specifically what Plaintiff believed to be an original one-off sketch of Avatar's character Neytiri, drawn and signed by James Cameron. Attached to the sketch was a handwritten note from Cameron that read, quote, "Your beauty was an early inspiration for Neytiri. Too bad you were shooting another movie. Next time," end quote. Signed, James Cameron. I have a question here. This is the part. I'm like, first of all, two questions. One, is that the whole note? You know, because like ever since the Lively case, there are some lawyers who don't actually provide full context. But you know, was there more to this? Or, you know, I have questions about this whole part here. You know, like that's the only thing. But let's keep going a little bit more. Plaintiff and her mother were initially confused by this note. Cameron was implying that Plaintiff had been an early inspiration for the character Neytiri, and further implying that he might have cast her, quote, next time, had she not been busy filming another movie. This was perplexing. No one from Cameron's team had ever reached out to Plaintiff about Avatar. The reference to her, quote, shooting another movie as a reason for not being involved was puzzling and false. Plaintiff had never been offered an audition or role in Avatar, and therefore could not have, quote, missed the opportunity due to scheduling. Cameron's note created a misleading narrative that she was simply unavailable, concealing the reality that he chose to use her likeness without contacting her at all. The notion that Plaintiff's beauty had inspired Natiri was flattering yet vague. Plaintiff has received many drawings, paintings, and sketches from fans and peers over the years and had no reason to suspect any wrongdoing based on what appeared to be mutual allyship and respect. Plaintiff interpreted it at face value that Cameron had seen her somewhere, perhaps her public works or films, and artistically some inspiration somewhere along the way, since she heard he had been conceiving the film for many years. Importantly, Plaintiff did not take this to mean that her actual face had been replicated and implemented in an elaborate production pipeline for Avatar, or that any actual usage of her image had actually occurred. Okay, and she, like, this is where it just gets too much, like, stuff like this. Like, in her worldview, steeped in indigenous spirituality, she thought Cameron might be honoring her essence or ethos she represents. So it's like, so she didn't think it was her, like, actual anatomical physical feature. She thought it was her essence and her ethos. So, like, you know what I'm saying? She even viewed Natiri as a positive symbol, a female warrior of light that fights against injustice and indigenous exploitation, qualities Plaintiff herself embodies. The gift seemed like a benevolent gesture from an esteemed elder in her activist circle, acknowledging a shared passion for protecting indigenous communities. Given this understanding, Plaintiff felt deeply touched rather than alarmed. She thanked Cameron warmly by email shortly after. I am so touched by the beautiful sketch you made of Natiri. I'm so thankful, humbled, and touched that in some little way I was able to be part of your inspiration for this important film. In that email, Plaintiff even remarked that she teared up with joy, believing that Avatar through Natiri was giving many young Indigenous youth the courage to be proud of their culture and hope that our voices will be heard. Okay, so I don't know. This language just kind of gets to me. But I just want to show where he says that how he found it. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going, but let me just check in with the chat what you guys are thinking so far. Is this interesting to you or no? It's let me go down. Disney doesn't show that part. Oh, the part of Pocahontas running around naked. Yeah, good thing. Trish, they aged her up to make it more palatable to general public. They have done a lot of whitewashing of actual truth, and the tales they produce look what like they did the grim versions of Disney. I know, I mean, well, Ariel still seemed young, the mermaid. I wonder who she was inspired by. From what I understood, all the Avatar, okay, so Gelth Walker, all the avatars were based off the actors via motion capture, maybe used her face as one of many faces to make final face look what happened with Flynn Rider from Rapunzel. I don't know what happened with that one from Rapunzel. He was designed by committee via notes on a post board that people could vote on and change as they walk past. That's cool. It says, Vig says, I'm so tired of people looking for a payday and to gain a name through a lawsuit. Yeah. Be Kind says, yes. Okay, you're interested. You want me to keep going? I don't know that she has a claim here, says Kenny. Well, so that was one of like the first things that kind of stuck out to me was the statute of limitations is over. And when he gave her the drawing, you know, it sounds like she didn't even recognize that it was based on her look. She thought it was like on her ethos and like or something. Like, so that didn't raise any red flags then when she saw the Avatar movie. That didn't raise any flags then. I don't know. We're going to get to what raised her red flag, but like, I just have questions. Although you believe her so far. Yeah. So what I feel like maybe there is a chance here, in my opinion, that like maybe there is like some sort of like claim or something here, but the way the lawyer is presenting it, I hate fluff. I hate like extra fluff like this. It's not necessary. And I feel like they keep doing it here. And that's what I don't like. So I'm like, if her claims are valid on their own, then don't make this whole extra story about it. Khaleesi said, I think if they used her face, she has a claim. Don't use her face. Otherwise, yeah. And yeah, Trish agrees with you, Vig. Says, right? Seems like there's so many of those cases right now. Yeah. So, and then, you know, they did have, I mean, I wonder if she would still be going after them if it was this successful, you know? So, okay, let's keep going because we'll get to the part where she allegedly all of a sudden realized that he had really used her face. Okay. Okay, we're back. Sound check, sound check. Okay. Plaintiff, having no reason to suspect wrongdoing, put the framed sketch on her wall and continued with her life. Proud to have inspired Cameron in some small way, she remained friendly with Cameron in the following years, purely on a surface level of activism networking. They did not see each other often in person after 2010. There were sporadic email exchanges, usually Plaintiff inviting Cameron to attend Indigenous rights events or screenings of her independent projects, and Cameron politely declining due to being, quote, out of town or busy. In July 2017, Plaintiff even signed a non-disclosure agreement and met with Cameron at Lightstorm about the Avatar sequels, hoping to collaborate or at least be involved, a meeting arranged through Cameron's casting office. Cameron did meet with her then, but nothing concrete materialized for her participation. Still, at no point in 2017 did Cameron reveal her past contribution. He treated the conversation as if she were just another interested actress. So, I feel like there's like a lot more here that I'm very curious about. Over the years, Plaintiff remained respectful and hopeful. She held on to Cameron's promise of, quote, next time, hoping she could collaborate with her activist ally. For instance, in May 2022, as the sequel Avatar, The Way of Water was imminent, Plaintiff, the sequel was in 2022 and the original was in 2009. Is that normal to have a sequel like that many years later? I mean, that's crazy, but good for Avatar. Okay. For instance, in May 2022, the sequel of Avatar, The Way of Water, was imminent. Plaintiff emailed Cameron a photograph of herself posing with the Neytiri sketch he'd given her, playfully writing, how time flies. Is it next time yet? I'm ready to go. Let's go. She believed perhaps Cameron truly did intend to include her in a future project. There was no reply, but shortly after, in November 2022, Plaintiff was invited as an Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Science member to an exclusive screening and after party for Avatar, The Way of Water. At the event, Cameron greeted Plaintiff kindly. They had a private chat where Cameron spoke about upcoming Avatar films and told Plaintiff to reach out if she needed help with any of her projects, reiterating the feeling of allyship. Cameron even commented to Plaintiff with her partner Adam Villaseñor nearby before taking a photo together with Cameron, telling her, "This is a historic moment." Plaintiff was confused by that comment, but took it as a very nice compliment by Cameron. They even took a friendly photograph together side by side at the reception. In January 2023, Plaintiff ran into Cameron's longtime personal assistant, who mentioned that Cameron would like to stay in touch and provided new contact information. All of these interactions reinforced Plaintiff's belief that Cameron respected her. Hold on, I'm checking in with the chat, making sure we're still good. Okay, cool. Okay. All these interactions reinforced Plaintiff's belief that Cameron respected her and that there was mutual goodwill. Crucially, Cameron never hinted that Plaintiff might have a claim or issue regarding the original film's use of her likeness. But why would he? I mean, by maintaining this cordial relationship and never mentioning the true extent of Plaintiff's inspiration for Neytiri, Cameron effectively lulled Plaintiff into inaction well past the normal limitations period. The facade of understanding finally cracked in 2024. In April 2024, a video was published online on YouTube showcasing a new Tech Noir museum exhibit in Paris celebrating James Cameron's life work. In this exhibit, James Cameron himself gives a guided tour of his career, including the making of Avatar. For the first time in a public forum, Cameron explicitly admits the full truth about Neytiri's design. In the recorded interview, Cameron points to an image of Neytiri and says unambiguously, "This is her, Kilsher's lower face." He described this use of Plaintiff's face as a keystone of the design process, confirming that earlier designs lacked humanity and that he used the photo of Plaintiff to build empathy for the character. Cameron even recounted meeting Plaintiff years later and presenting her with the framed sketch, effectively retelling the story of the 2010 gift, but now adding the crucial context that her actual face had been used to create the character. In other words, what happened, Ozzy? Are you okay? Okay, sorry. In other words, in a moment of respective candor for the museum audience, Cameron revealed precisely what he had concealed from the plaintiff, that Natiri's beauty was not merely inspired by plaintiff, but was directly replicated from her facial features. Plaintiff did not see this video immediately when it was posted. It was hosted on a French YouTube channel and not widely circulated at first, but a year later, in August 2025, a short clip of Cameron's Tech Noir interview began circulating on social media, TikTok, Twitter, etc., among film fans and Indigenous activists. One such clip came to plaintiff's attention. In that moment, plaintiff finally learned of the betrayal Cameron had kept from her. She watched and listened as he coolly described on camera how he took her face for Natiri and how essential it was to Avatar's success. Plaintiff was shocked, heartbroken, and felt utterly betrayed. Here was someone she admired as an ally who spoke about protecting Indigenous cultures, openly bragging that he had done to her the very thing as villains do in Avatar, exploit and appropriate. Plaintiff describes feeling bewildered that someone could do this to her, the very thing they preach against in their own films. The cognitive dissonance and personal hurt were overwhelming. Immediately, plaintiff and her team began investigating further evidence to corroborate Cameron's admissions. So here's the thing. Like, okay, so he admitted that he used part of her face, right? But like when he presented her the photo, Anna told her he was inspired. She didn't notice, like, yo, that's my lips and cheekbones. You know what I mean? So like if she didn't notice it, like, is it really, did he really, like, is this character really based on her? And also, so here's like one of the big exhibits, in my opinion, you know, because basically it came like they used her in Pocahontas, right? In the movie where he says he liked, you know, the lower part of her face or whatever, but they make a sketch and the sketch doesn't look like her, but it's that sketch that they make that goes through all these renditions, or what do you call this, like extrapolations or whatever. I don't know what the technical term is, but it goes through all this process before they land with the actual avatar, which in my opinion doesn't look like her at all. And so see, like this was the sketch, and then this was her in that Pocahontas film, you know? So is it because he admitted it that, like, where his inspiration was from? Is that like what you know, what she's trying to say? That's where it kind of loses me. I mean, the one part that I did think seemed kind of strange was like, too bad you were busy, maybe next time. And I have so many questions about that. I was like, it looks like her manager is her mom, right? I don't know if that's the same thing as agent, but like, were they approached and they just didn't know what the film was? Because sometimes that happens, right? Or maybe it was called something else and then they, you know, just it was deleted, or it never got to them, or something happened. Or maybe at his version, she never responded. Like, did he reach out to her initially? I don't know. Or was it just like, you know, we see things in life we get inspired by. She was in a main production of Pocahontas. Like, she put herself out there, and that's sometimes what happens. You know, so, but is it because it became a very successful movie? I have so many questions. I just want to hear what you guys say. Oh, hold on. You guys can hear me, right? Okay. Let me catch up with the chat. Hold on. Okay, it says next they're going to sue AI that steals people's faces from all the surveillance. Yeah, I don't know. The fact that the statute of limitations has passed means too bad, so sad. Shut the F up and get over it, says Gelth Walker. Gelth is not messing around. Gelth, did you vote? I'm guessing you voted that she doesn't have a case. I didn't see much people. To vote, you put 2 in the chat for no, or 1 in the chat for yes. StreamYard will calculate it. And then you can see on the screen here, which is really cool, because with the YouTube chat, it doesn't really, you can't really see it on the screen. You can only see it in the chat. So like replay crew can't see it. Understood, Gelth, but not according to Cameron. And then Vague says the graphic and digital enhancements took a while to process. Hey, Madly, how are you? Little Mermaid was based on the book by Hans Christian Andersen. There's a water fountain of her likeness in the center of Copenhagen. Been listening but busy. Well, it's good to see you. Perhaps because of statute, but doesn't make it right. Yeah. Gelt says, DFJ, you're confused over gaps in sequels. Like, Hell, there are movies out there with bigger gaps like Star Wars and the prequel, or more current Spaceballs and Spaceballs 2. Is that true? Well, I'm the worst person to like, I don't really see that many movies, so I don't really know. But yeah, I am confused by that because like I thought there was only one Avatar, and I did see it in the theater. Kenny says, I guess I just don't think the character looks that much like her from what I remember. Yeah, and then you can like see on screen, and let me go back to the different one. So is this all the exhibit? Like here, yeah, I don't see it. Maybe like a tiny, not even the eyebrows, nothing. Here's the facial anatomical structure. Like they ended up making her cheeks skinnier. It looks like, I don't know, it looks like they thought they were going to keep the butt chin, and then they got rid of the butt chin. So, and then even the lips, they made them more, different, I think. The nose, nothing else looks like her. Maybe she has high cheekbones, but so does like all of Hollywood. So that's what I don't understand. Hey, CM baby, how are you? Gal says agrees the Avatar looks more like Zoe Saldana than the complaint person. Yeah, I think so. Khaleesi says, I think it would be weird if there was a movie character that kind of looked like me and was loosely based on me making money for a company that I didn't give permission to. Like, what the F? And that's the thing. Like, maybe, yeah, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, we have to go. I have to see what the other examples of this are. Like someone else, what you guys said earlier, about what movie was that? Now was it Pocahontas? You guys said they used one of the sisters, or what movie do you say that was? But for Disney, but like, so maybe, when they do that for like animation, like cartoon animation, how does that work? Like if they're like, okay, we want to take a feature of this and this and put it together, do they all get commission for that? I don't know. Veg says, I think there's more to the story. I think if they had gone about it differently, they may have a settlement. The which it's being explained as the way in which it's being explained as bolstering the situation. Yeah, I agree. I think, and because if it had made billions, if it was true, I don't see why he would have a problem settling this. But maybe because it happened so after the fact, they're like, wait, what? And maybe in his mind, he thought they had that conversation. There's the NDA conversation that we don't know what happened there. I don't know. Khaleesi said, why would he volunteer the information himself? Sounds like she approved for Pocahontas, but not the other. And that's true too. But here's my question about that is like, what, she didn't even notice it when she had the photo. Hold on. I need to put these on back on. It only was on mute for an hour. Hold on. Okay. That's what my question is. Okay. So Theon says, has anyone seen the 2013 film called The Congress with Robin Wright? It's pretty much an insane trip and addresses taking the likeness of actors and actresses and using them however they want. No, I haven't seen that. So what ended up happening in it? You can give a spoiler alert. I will probably not see it. I do have a list of movies I'm supposedly supposed to see, but I'm gonna put the Wayfair ones at the top of that list just to support the people, the victims of Blake Lively. Vague Ambiguous says not the same thing. Her agent may have told him she was already in a contract. Yeah, that the way they worded that seemed kind of strange. But we don't know. We need to hear both sides, right? And so it does seem. She says, "I don't feel sorry for Disney. F them," says Khaleesi. And so, yeah, and maybe we do find out that they, that what they did was wrong. But at that point, if they had, because they have so many good lawyers and everything, why wouldn't they just give her like, here? I mean, even like, 1 million, 2 million, it's $1 billion franchise. A few $1 million that is not going to make a huge difference to them. But then at that point, are they saying that like every single character? I never saw the sequel. Do the first two characters even look alike if they're using different actresses? I don't know. Or is Zoe Saldana the actress in both? I don't know any of these things, so I'm just going off what they're saying in this case, this lawsuit. Many managers screw actors over with not passing on roles due to various reasons. Well, supposedly her manager's her mom. Trish says, I heard the year 2010. Is there a year closer to now? Oh, yeah, it says for the latest one was like, I think 2 years ago or something. All right, so you guys are voting now. What did you all say? Let me go to the poll. Did they stop the polls? No, I'm going to stop it now. Hold on. I just want to see now that we've talked it all out what you guys think. Okay, I'm closing it in 3, 2, 1. Hide. Oh, not hide. Stop. Okay, well, we only had 6 people vote. Everyone voted who wanted to vote? Okay, so okay, does she have a case? Says one person says yes, 5 people say no. Okay, we're stopping the poll. Well, that's very interesting, you guys. Thanks to everyone who voted. So I think, we need to hear the other side. I really do. Elsie says there's 3 Avatar movies now. So, I mean, they have so much money. It's like if they really did use her, like, is that, I don't know. Then, yeah, would they owe her money? I don't know the law around this. I'm very curious. But look what they can do with CG animation now. Yeah. Gail says a lot of people also have that chin, so her point is kind of moot. Yeah. Sorry, had to drive to the dispo. What's the dispo? Roses Wild says, I remember a long time ago when they had a making of special where it said and showed making of faces of Zoe Saldana and Sam Worthington. Oh, was it for this movie? Oh, you said on principle. Oh, Khaleesi's gonna boycott Avatar. She's like, I'll boycott Avatar 2, 3, 4, whatever they're on principle. But just Khaleesi, don't you want to hear the other side first? Maybe there was something lost in communication. Oh, she's driving to the disco? Or dispensary? Everyone's trying to guess what you meant. The poll is usually in the upper right-hand corner. Okay. And then Trish says, I'm biased to James Cameron, so I'm not a great vote anyways. Yeah. Okay. I think Theoni, sorry if I'm not saying it right, your name right, says, I think if I was her, I would be upset and feel hurt, but I don't think I would have a case legally. Yeah. Oh, Trish, you didn't see the poll? So it was, I did the StreamYard one, so it was different than the YouTube one. And so it was like on the screen. Like, like if you actually look on, I took it down now, but it was on the upper right-hand side. And with the StreamYard, you just put a 1 or 2 in the chat, and then StreamYard calculates it and then puts it up there. So anyways, we're almost done. I just had one kind of cool thing that was an offshoot of this that I thought you guys might be interested in, because when I was reading it, I was like, this is really kind of funny to me. And yeah, it says, Theoni, did you hear the guy that wrote the books finally got the rights back and he wants to make a sequel based off the books? And what one? Oh, I hope you watch it. It's too hard to explain. It's kind of like a Roger Rabbit where it's half animation, half reality. Okay, so tell me what it's called again. I have to go back up here. Robin White or Robin Wright. I think that's the one from House of Cards, right? I know who that is. So I could probably find it. And then you have an open mind, says DFJ. I know you do. You guys are so smart in here. That's why I love it. And I still the part this is the part that's confusing to me. Is like she didn't notice it herself that it was like had some of her features. So even if that maybe was like an inspiration for him, maybe that's not like what the sketch doesn't look like that to me. And then at that point, well, like, okay, that's yours. Okay, but like you got the genes from both your parents. So now do they get like, are they involved in it too? I don't know. Where does it end? Also, if you're an actor and actress, you're putting yourself out in the public, and not to get like your likeness ever stolen or something, but as you're putting yourself out there in a way where like maybe you could be an inspiration, you know, for other people. I mean, look at Kim, like this was the example I used last time, and maybe it's not the same thing, but in my opinion, I think that I honestly think that so many people who get plastic surgery in Los Angeles come out looking like Kim Kardashian, like her same face. But it's not like she can go and sue the plastic surgeons for doing that. And they're making the money, but like, are the people, you know, that come out, are they, you know, making money off their face? So maybe it's not the same thing, but it's like people get inspired by certain beauty that speaks to them. And like, I don't know, just is what it is. Okay. Roses Wild says, yes, it was for Avatar movie where they merged Zoe and Sam's face into blue character they wanted. So they used Zoe's face, but she was the actress for it. So was Zoe the actress for the original movie then? Or for both of the movies? Christina says the amount of girlfriends who are sitting in the car is hilarious. Where are you guys going? And yeah, Khaleesi says my mind could be changed with facts. Hashtag Team Truth. But I also hear what you're saying. Khaleesi is just like big $1 billion like company, and then this like, you know, little girl. And I could, you know, maybe she does have a case. I don't like the lawyer. I personally don't like the way her lawyer is presenting her case. I think they try and do too much. But we'll see. You know, we'll see what the other side says, and then we'll see who we believe. Just like, you know, that's what I could do with all the cases. Trish says, oh, haha, I'll know for next time. I was wondering why there were votes in the chat. Yeah, I just learned about it, and I think that it's just a fun way to do it because then people on screen can see it versus like, I don't think like people on replay crew can see it, see the votes in the chat. So anyways, well, I'll go back and forth. I'll try both next time maybe. Not on everything, just the project you signed up for. Oh, it says you would pay the model. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Oh, okay. So like, one of my roommate in college, like her dad worked for, I forgot what company, but he made some cartoons, and one of the characters was based on her, but I don't think that she ever got paid for that, you know? Like it was just his inspiration. I don't know. I don't know. Kenny says, all of a sudden, there's a flood of people who look like all characters in the movie asking for money. All of a sudden, there's a bunch of Avatar people walking around. I know. All of a sudden, we all look like her. It's a class action lawsuit. They took the likeness from all of us. Yeah, they do. It's like everyone is paying to look similar. I know. And then I'm just wondering, where did her face come from? It says she should because too many Kim clones. But then it's like, where did whose face did they make Kim's face based off of? You know, was that someone else's that we don't know about? She was the main character from The Princess Bride. Oh my God, I used to love that movie as a kid. I don't know why. I was obsessed with that movie. Like, I loved everything about that movie. Okay. Roses Wild said, yes, Zoe was the actress for at least 2, if not 3 of them. Okay. So they used her face. I don't even understand then what the point was of using the other face then. Christina says, I think these days all the Botox makes it so actresses can't express emotions as well, and it takes away from the performances. Yeah. Okay, Lori's back. Had to go to high school grad party. Oh, yay, congratulations. Theon says, I think she should just be flattered that there was an inspiration for the character. But honestly, I don't think he made her likeness. He used her lips. Yeah, I think so. I think that could make sense too. Okay, and then it says, oh, Elsie says, Zoe is one of the main characters in all the movies. Okay, so in all the Avatar ones. That's pretty cool that they use it. So, because sometimes, you know, with actresses, like if they want to keep them looking younger or something, you know, the fact that they used her in 2009 and then again in 2020, that's pretty cool. You know, I give them props for that. Look, I want to see both sides. The only thing that's really like kind of confusing to me about this case right now is that she didn't even notice they used her face. She thought they used her ethos, but she wasn't going to sue for that. So whatever. I don't know. Gail says, interesting. Just saw Rebel Wilson got denied. I need to watch the video. Yeah, I don't know about any of that. What do you mean she got denied? Okay. We're going to do one more now, okay? This is the last case. This all came about because they switched judge. And so, you know, I do my research because I thought they should have kept with the now do you see why I think that her team maybe made a mistake with the other magistrate judge? I see it, just Khaleesi. F Disney. Yeah, I mean, you know, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. So we are going to go. This is the last one, I think. Let me go back to my slides. Yeah, because so, I always research judges. And that's, again, why I think she should have kept with this judge. Because the judge that they were assigned was the first female Indian American federal judge in the nation. And then they chose not to use her because it was a magistrate judge. And so now they have this William Hisu guy. So I was like, all right, what other cases has he done? I'm very curious. I just want to see what kind of guy he is. And then that led me to this one, this Fabletics case that he's overseeing. This case is crazy. Have you guys heard about this one? First of all, I didn't even know Fabletics was still a thing. Wasn't this like the Kate Hudson, like her company or something at some point? Share this tab instead. Okay. Erasure of the judge, says Kenny. Ooh, burn. Okay. One sec. We're going to go to this case in 1 second. And then that's what we're going to close on. If you guys want to hear it. If not, just tell me. But I think it's going to be interesting. Okay. Oh, Trish says Fabletics. Is this the Costco case? No, that was Lululemon. I need to see what ended up happening with that. Good call. I need to go back to that. Honestly, so that case we learned about because it was another magistrate judge we looked up that had been assigned. That was so sketchy. That guy had been assigned 2 different subpoena motions to compel in the ends with us case. Like that doesn't seem very random to me, like it's supposed to be. But the Lululemon case was so cool because I got these like amazing Lululemon knockoffs from Costco because of that case. So Lululemon, whatever they did backfired in my opinion. Like I got the best jacket from there for only like $20. That's just like the Lululemon one, and in my opinion better. Anyways, that one was so crazy. Lululemon is Delulu. They put the Lulu in Delulu. Okay, it wasn't that one, but good point. I will do that one next time. Okay, I'm gonna bring an update to y'all next time for that one. Now I'm so curious. Well, I have to look it up for next time because I actually had a lot of slides on that. Okay, that's what I thought. Yes, isn't Fabletics Kate Hudson? I'm pretty sure. Okay. Okay. So we are gonna go to here. I don't want to post that other Rebel stuff. I don't think. Okay, we'll go back to that. Let me know what they say. Let me know what they say, Galth. Okay, about about Rebel. What do you mean she got denied? Okay, so we are going to go to this Fabletic. This is crazy. Okay, so it's a class action complaint for damages, demand for jury trial. Okay, plaintiffs Robert Broadbeck, which first of all, that already I was like, I thought Fabletics was a female brand because I'd only seen Kate Hudson. I didn't even know they sold men's clothes, so I was already like, okay. And Gia Hoffer, plaintiffs on their own behalf and on behalf of all others similarly situated by and through counsel brings this action against defendants Fabletics Inc. The allegations contained herein, which are based on plaintiff's knowledge of facts pertaining to himself and his own actions. Okay, so let me just make sure. Yeah, you got it. Vague says, wait, did you know that the state of Texas is suing Lululemon? The chemicals that are in their spandex and is causing women issues downstairs. What? I had heard something about their chemicals, actually, but I didn't know that was Texas. You guys, okay, so whatever. My next stream is just going to be on Lululemon, okay? I need to screenshot this thing, so I need to look up the Texas lawsuit, and then I need to look up an update on the Costco one, which it does suck. I think they were successful in the Costco one, honestly, because they pulled all the stuff from online, and I never saw it in the store again. It was so sad. Okay. Thank you. That is so interesting. I'm fascinated. So, nature of the case. This class action arises from Fabletics' retention of windfall profits generated by unlawful tariffs imposed by federal government under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which is the IEEPA. Beginning in February 2025, the federal government imposed sweeping tariffs on imports from numerous countries under purported authority of the IEEPA. Those tariffs dramatically increase the cost of imported consumer goods sold in the U.S. Major U.S. importers, including Fabletics, responded by increasing prices on consumer goods to offset the cost of these tariffs. As a result, American consumers paid higher retail prices for consumer goods, reflecting the economic burden of those tariffs. Fabletics charged a separate tariff surcharge that was visible on customers' receipts. On February 20th, 2026, the Supreme Court of the United States held that IEEPA-based tariffs were unlawful. As a consequence of that decision, importers who paid those tariffs, including Fabletics, became entitled to refunds of the duties they previously paid to U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP. Fabletics, therefore, collected the tariff costs. Okay, hold on one second. Are you guys still with me here? Okay, we're going to keep going. It says that Fabletics, therefore, collected the tariff costs from consumers through its tariff surcharge while seeking refunds of the same tariff payment from the federal government. Unless restrained by this court, Fabletics stands to recover the same tariff payments twice, once from customers and again from the federal government through tariff refunds, including interest paid by the government on those funds. Fabletics has made no legally binding commitment to return tariff-related surcharges to consumers who actually paid them. This lawsuit seeks to prevent the unjust result. Plaintiffs bringing the action on behalf of millions of consumers who purchased goods from Fabletics during the tariff period and who paid tariff surcharges reflecting Fabletics' pass-through of unlawful tariffs. Plaintiffs seek restitution of those tariff overcharges together with appropriate declaratory, injunctive, and monetary relief. So, and I just have a question for you guys. Khaleesi says F Fabletics too. Yeah. So, Gelth Walker says, my response to this is boo effing who. We were in Australia, pay premium prices on everything because of where we are located. Get used to it. It's going to happen worldwide no matter what. I know. Well, I have a few. Yeah, there's a few things questions I have going on with this here because, like, well, first of all, so like they know that the Fabletics is made in China, or like, I mean, I just have so many questions. Okay, and also, do you guys remember? Did any other company actually have a surcharge for tariffs that you know of like this? And also, then is it your choice? Are you knowingly paying those tariffs to the company? And then, but I do think that the corporation, yeah, they're double dipping. Then do they have the obligation to send them back? But it keeps going. It's funny here. FedEx had tariff charges? Really? Hold on one second. I just got a message here. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I just need to respond to this really quick. Oh, and I also saw something from Christina. Christina, I'm going to respond to you right now. There's a petition. Okay. For what? All right. I will circle it. Hold on. And then also, I'm just going to send you something back real quick. Hold on one second. Hold on. Okay, I got the link and it is right here. It's a wrongful execution for Tony Carruthers, and it's a petition. So, make sure you read or watch their stream before you sign it, just so you know everything. But I am going to still share it because I support everything that Yarn and Order does. So here we go. I can't even find the freaking chat now. Okay, here we go. All right, there's the petition. So, it says I can't. Oh, because I can't share a link in my own. StreamYard is tripping. Okay, hold on. It's not even letting me share it. Well, Christina, do you have the link? Christina, you have the link. You can share it. Is Christina still here? Yeah, Christina's listening. She can share it. She'll go ahead. Oh, look, Khaleesi, for the swear jar. Well, thank you so much. I love that. Yeah, I know. I love Sarah too. She's awesome. So yeah, I'll definitely support that. You still blame Ryan? Wait, for what? Oh, for the StreamYard. I know. Girl, I did try a different kind. like the OBS one, I was like, I can't do this. So I still have to work on it. Be Kind says, you and CJ have the best lives. Going back to replay later to hype. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. This is juicy. Okay, so we're going to keep going because there is something very interesting about this. It said the court rules Deb producer's defamation case against Rebel Wilson can move forward. Okay. It said it was on Amazon and then the president told them to take it off. Okay. Oh, tariffs were on Amazon. They were? Interesting. Okay. Oh, thanks for sharing. Well, I don't think that link works when it says share Google. I think you have to go to the link. The link is, because I had it up here. It's supposed to be action.aclu.org and then whatever the petition is. So try, maybe try a different one. You're like, I'm on one today. Yeah. So just try that. Okay. It says you're in order. Hi, what's going on with Fabletics? Well, okay. So this is really funny. So they basically, hey, also we're trying to put your thing in the chat. Your what is it called? The petition. I don't know. It's not letting me. Hold on. I just have to pull up my YouTube to do it. Hold on one second. For some reason, it's not letting me post in my own chat. Oh, I see Cassidy's live. Okay, right here. All right, there you go. There's the petition, you guys. It's in the chat. So Fabletics. So there's a class action lawsuit. Let me go back. This is really funny. So yeah, for the tariffs, but it to me it's really funny. So basically, they're saying that like they're getting refunded by the government for tariffs, but they also had a separate charge for consumers for the tariffs, and they haven't refunded the consumers, people who bought them. So then they say jurisdiction. At least one member of the class is a citizen of a state from a state different from defendant. Okay, the amount in controversy exceeds $5 million, exclusive of interest and costs, and none of the exceptions under the subsection apply to this action. And then it says the court has personal jurisdiction over defendant because Fabletics is headquartered in this district, conducts significant business traction in this district, and because the wrongful conduct occurred in and emanated from this district. Venue is proper. Okay. So parties. So plaintiff Robert Broadek, which again, I didn't even know Fabletics sold men's clothes, is a resident and citizen of Cincinnati, Ohio. During the class period, plaintiff Broadek purchased goods from Fabletics that were imported from countries subject to the IEEPA tariffs. Plaintiff Broadbeck paid retail prices for those goods that were increased by Fabletics' tariff surcharge to account for the tariffs imposed on imported products. Plaintiff Broadbeck then would not have paid those higher prices absent the unlawful tariffs and Fabletics' pass-through of those tariffs to consumers. Okay, so we're going to keep going. Plaintiff Johnny Hoffer is a resident and citizen of Fair Oaks, California. During the class period, Plaintiff Hoffer purchased goods from Fabletics that were imported from countries subject to the IEEPA tariffs. Plaintiff Hoffer paid retail prices for the goods that were increased by Fabletics' tariff surcharge to account for the tariffs imposed on imported products. Plaintiff Hoffer would not pay those higher prices absent of the unlawful tariffs and Fabletics' pass-through of those tariffs to consumers. Defendant Fabletics Inc. is a Delaware corporation with its principal place of business located at 800 Apollo Street, El Segundo, California. Fabletics is responsible for the marketing, distribution, and sale of its products in the United States. A significant portion of the products Fabletics sells are imported goods subject to IEEPA tariffs imposed by the United States government. Fabletics business, okay, it just says, it was founded in 2013 as a prominent player in the activewear and sportswear industry, specializing in affordable, high-quality apparel for both men and women. There's a footnote there. Oh, I guess it just says their about page. And then Fabletics operates as a membership-based model, delivering personalized outfits to millions of customers worldwide. Fabletics boasts of having more than 2.4 million members worldwide. Okay, that's also kind of what blew my mind. What the hell? Why do you need a membership to buy their clothes? Like, are they Costco? I'm so confused right now. And then they have another, it just says ID, whatever that means. And then it says, with headquarters in El Segundo, California, Fabletics combines a strong e-commerce platform with over 95 physical retail locations globally. Fabletics CEO Adam Goldenberg announced on January 13, 2016 that the company surpassed $1 billion in annual sales, achieved 18% growth in 2025, and recorded over 25% growth in the fourth quarter. Fabletics manufactures most, if not all, products outside of the United States in places such as Asia, including China, which is a major hub for the brand's manufacturing activities. The IEEPA tariffs beginning in February 2025, President Trump invoked the IEEPA to impose tariffs on imports from numerous foreign countries pursuant to a series of executive orders declaring national emergencies related to the trade and supply chain concerns. Those executive orders impose sweeping tariffs on imports from key U.S. trading partners. The orders included duties of approximately 25% on many imports from Canada, Mexico, and additional tariffs on imports from China that were layered on top of existing duties, resulting in substantially higher effective tariff rates on Chinese goods. The tariffs significantly increased the cost of imported consumer goods entering the United States, particularly for retailers and other businesses that rely heavily on international supply chains to source merchandise like defendants' Fabletics. Under U.S. customs law, the importer of record is responsible for paying tariffs when goods enter the United States. Accordingly, importers of record, including major retailers such as Fabletics, were required to pay the IEEPA tariffs to U.S. CBP as the Border Patrol upon entry of covered merchandise into the country. So they just have like links for that. And then they go into more. Okay, so and that the tariffs are economically borne by consumers, economists. Okay, so but do we need to know that part? But well, okay, should we keep reading that part? What do you guys think? But what blew my mind, okay, there was something where this person said that they wanted compensation because they had a membership. So they were like paying. I'm so confused. Do these people pay monthly for clothes? Who needs a new pair of Fabletics freaking leggings every month or something? Like, what is going on with this whole thing? Look, they sell men's clothes. Thanks for your order. I'm so confused with this. Why do you need a membership? They need to explain that more. Oh yeah, okay, so here's where it is. This part. The people's experience. Okay. So Plaintiff Robert Broadbeck's experience. Plaintiff Robert Broadbeck is a Fabletics consumer and has a Fabletics membership. Plaintiff Broadbeck made several purchases during the class period where he was charged a tariff surcharge as illustrated by the below invoices. So where does it even show that? Oh, at the bottom. Okay, I see. Okay. So the tariff, like for him to get the swim trunks and Terry sweatshort. What the hell is a sweatshort? That seems like a crime. Those tariffs were $7. Yeah. And then for here, he bought the one jogger, and those tariffs were $11.85. Interesting. And this was in, let me see when he did these. So it was January 2026 and April 2025. Okay. Plaintiff Broadbeck is entitled to a refund of all the tariff surcharges plus interest he paid to Fabletics. I mean, yeah, it definitely sucks, but that's like $18. Like, is it worth going through something like this? But maybe with the membership, this happened every month. I don't know. But they only showed 2 examples right there. Plaintiff Ajani Hoffert's experience. Plaintiff Ajani Hoffert is a Fabletics customer and has a Fabletics membership. Plaintiff Hoffert made several purchases during the class period where he was charged a tariff. Oh, it says another guy. Ajani's like, okay. Where he was charged a tariff surcharge as illustrated by the invoice below. So he bought a female, looks like cozy fleece full zip hoodie. And this was February of this year, and the seamless scrunch high-waisted legging, and the Oasis Twist medium impact sports bra. And his tariffs were $11.85. Maybe they meant she, or maybe he bought it for someone. Plaintiff Hoffer is entitled to a refund of all the tariff surcharges plus interest she paid to Fabletics. Yeah. So see that, they need to fix this. That was a typo up here. Yeah, he was charged because I was like, why is he buying a sports bra? I mean, I guess some guys can do that, but okay, so let me go check in the chat first before we get. What do you guys think? Do you think they have a case? They pay a subscription monthly, but the clothes are separate charges as well. But for what? To shop there? The longer you're subscribed, you get different discounts and across access to different leggings or something. Oh, seems so. Is that legal? That seems so crazy to me. Oh, I mean, I guess so anyone can shop there, but like if you're a subscriber, then they're like you get certain releases or something. That seems like such a strange. I mean, whatever. Obviously, that it's successful for them. They make so much money, it looks like. Yeah, so you like the Fab Fit Fun, says Jessica Lacey. Oh, Yarn and Order. I had them confused with Fab Fit Fun or something. I did a box once. Okay, so I guess it's something different. Miley says, oh, the tariffs were illegal. Shock me. Yeah, it seems like it. And it seems like they're going to get their money back. So then they need to figure out a way to pay these people their money back. I think so. Is this population control, says Kenny? And Kenny says, I thought the point of tariff was for the business to pay the tariff, not the consumers. I know. I mean, but they listed it as an actual, like, on the receipt. So they always pass the buck to consumers. We always get the shitty end of the deals. I know. And then Trish says, Aladdin became Aladdin, an Italian adventure. The Sandlot becomes the Sad Lot. Yeah, I don't know. The whole thing is, when you get the knockoff ones, yeah. Okay, so, Yarnor says, you get loyalty credits and nonsense. It's a pyramid scheme with extra steps. So I'm surprised that their headquarters isn't in Utah. Those who know MLM, all of them are like in Utah, right? Yeah. In my opinion, allegedly, don't subpoena me. I know. This whole thing is so strange to me. I personally would not order from a company that I knew was charging me a tariff. I know. Yeah, it's wild. So let's see what this says. So class action is a proper forum to bring plaintiffs' claims under FRCP 23. The potential class is so large that joinder of all members would be impracticable. Additionally, there are questions of law or fact common to the class. The claims or defenses of the representative parties are typical of the claims or defense of the class, and the representative parties will fairly and adequately protect the interests of the class. This action satisfies all the implicit and explicit requirements of FRCP, including the numerosity, commonality, typicality, adequacy, predominance, and superiority. Numerosity, the class is so numerous that joinder of all memberships is impracticable. While the exact number is not known at this time, it is generally ascertainable by appropriate discovery. Given the consumer base of Fabletics, the class number in the hundreds of thousands or millions of consumers. I had no idea so many people were into those leggings. You can buy like the same things like from anywhere else. Like they all look the same to me. I mean, honestly, if you want to get like a really high quality one, there is this brand I used to like, but now I don't because they just jacked their prices up in the 300s, not because of tariffs, but because the owner has her own lawsuit going on. And yeah, they have a terrible business bureau rating. I don't even know if I should say them on this stream, but like they're the only ones that were worth the price, in my opinion, at the time, because they were actually compression to like the highest degree. It's the only ones I can wear where I don't feel like my like torn hip labrum is falling out of its socket. But yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think they have a case? Do we keep going? So, all right, commonality, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Typicality. So then they go through like saying how it qualifies. And then I just want to see what the proposed national class is described as follows. All persons in the United States who purchase goods from Fabletics during the period of February 1st, 2025 through February 24th, 2026, in which Fabletics imposed a tariff surcharge. So see, I don't remember anything that I bought that had a tariff surcharge. I mean, it did seem, like there was a general inflation with prices, I think, like across the board, that I think maybe kind of is still going on, but I don't think I ever bought anything that said like with a line that said tariffs. Okay, so they reserve the right to amend. Okay, and then claims for relief. Okay, so here's their claims for relief. Unjust enrichment. Plaintiffs incorporate by reference the foregoing allegations as if fully set forth herein. Plaintiffs and the class have conferred a benefit upon defendant in the form of the money defendant received from them through tariff surcharges on goods during the period February 1st, 2025 through February 24th, 2026. Defendant appreciates and or has knowledge of the benefits concurred. Okay. And the plaintiffs and the class seek full disgorgement and restitution of any money defendants had retained as a result of the unlawful and or wrongful conduct here therein. Okay. defendants receive money from plaintiffs and from each member of the proposed class in the form of a tariff surcharge. The Supreme Court has determined that the tariffs were unlawful. The money belonged to plaintiffs and to each member of the proposed class. Defendant has not returned the money. It will give offense to equity and good conscience if defendant is permitted to retain the tariff surcharge. Plaintiff seeks the return of the money in the amount to be proven at trial. Plaintiffs seek all remedies available under the law, including, if available, actual damages, nominal damages, compensatory damages, punitive damages, and injunctive relief, and other remedies available to him. And then it says, okay, so then they just say more things. Okay. They just said that conducts also constitutes unfair business acts. Defendant's wrongful conduct occurred in the conduct of trade or commerce while defendant was engaging in sales nationwide. I mean, violation of California's Consumers Legal Remedies Act. So, but wasn't only one of the people in the class from California, or does it not matter because they're based in California? I don't know. This will be interesting. And then declaratory relief. Okay, so I just want to see. Okay, they have the right blah 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 because it said like over $5 million. Prayer for relief. So, for an order certifying the proposed classes, appointing plaintiffs and their counsel to represent the proposed class, and notice to the proposed classes to be paid by defendant for damages suffered by plaintiffs and members of the proposed class, for restitution to plaintiffs and the proposed class for all monies wrongfully obtained by defendant, for injunctive relief requiring defendant to cease and desist from engaging in the unlawful, unfair, and or deceptive practices alleged in the complaint, an order awarding declaratory relief, retrospective and prospective injunction relief as permitted by law or equity, including enjoining defendant from continuing the unlawful practices as set forth herein, and injunctive relief to remedy defendant's past conduct, for the plaintiff's reasonable attorney's fees as permitted by law for plaintiff's costs incurred, for prejudgment, post-judgment interest at the maximum allowable rate on any amount awarded, and for such other and further relief that this court deemed just and proper under equity or law, including the award of punitive damages. So I just think this was all crazy. And the only reason I know about this is because I just was trying to look up the judge for the Avatar case. And I was like, this is kind of a crazy case, right? A little bit. So Kenny says it's like a subscription where you close every so often. Yeah, no, I think it's for access. It sounds like that's what I thought too. And I was like, who needs a subscription for like leggings? I think this may end up happening with all of the corporations that charge the additional tariffs passed on the cost and are asking for a refund. They didn't pay themselves. Yeah, so that's what I think is going to be really interesting. Like, especially if they did, if it was like deemed, if those tariffs, if they're getting refunded by the government, then aren't they like obligated to pay them back? But they also, the fact that the CEO of the company or the president of the company was like, oh, we had this, like, we made this $1 billion, this court, he recently just said that. So they had like a stellar, like, what is the right word? They had a stellar, sales quarter. I think that that just goes to show they probably have the money to pay all these people back those tariffs. So yeah, anyways, yes, this is Sarah, you are in order. She is awesome. We gave her a shout out at the beginning too, to go see her coverage of the Jed Wallace appeal for Texas, which I will link in the description. And we also put that, and in the description I will also post the petition. So I think that's all for today. We did a lot of cases. We covered a lot of things. Thank you again, Khaleesi, for the super chat and for being a supporter. And I'm going to go back to my slides because I just want to make sure we are done. Because I think, oh yeah, I'm going to also put this in the chat if you feel so inclined. I call my senators every day to tell them to vote no on the Farm Bill with the SOB Act in it, because it will be the biggest reversal of animal welfare laws this country has ever seen. So that's the number. You just tell them your state. It's usually a voicemail, and you just say your zip code. You can say your name if you want or not, and then just tell them to vote no on the Farm Bill with the SOB Act. Thank you to my amazing, amazing mods, to Laura, Khaleesi, and Christina. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for hanging out on this wonderful Saturday. Thank you to the chat for hanging out. And we're going to go out with Subpoena Smollett because yeah, I have a feeling we haven't seen the end of the subpoena Smollett and her team. So here we go.
She's got a folder full of names, each one set to take the blame. She don't argue, she don't explain. Subpoena Smollett strikes again. Oh, Subpoena Smollett, she's got papers to serve. Oh, Subpoena Smollett, your tweets hit a nerve. Lawyers running down the aisles, Costco carts stacked up for miles. Buying subpoenas invoke no smiles, her critics silenced in legal piles. Oh, Subpoena Smollett, better watch what you say. Oh, Subpoena Smollett, she'll sue your memes away. Lawyers running down the aisles, Costco carts stacked up for miles. Buying subpoenas in bulk, no smiles. Her critics silenced in legal piles. Oh, Subpoena Smollett, better watch what you say. Oh, Subpoena Smollett, she'll sue your memes away. She don't care for your free speech. One bad post and you're in reach. You think you're clever, think you're free. Her legal team will disagree. Oh, Subpoena Smollett, better tread real light. Oh, Subpoena Smollett, she's up late tonight.